What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? I appreciate you guys so much for being here. And I wanted to talk about two things today, and they're kind of intertwined actually, and I'll let you know how. But I wanted to talk about this book. It's called COVID-19: The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab, who's the founder of the World Economic Forum. It's a real book. He published it. He probably put it on Amazon, and there's nothing wrong with it. He wrote a book like a lot of people do. And I read the book, and it seems to keep getting me banned and stuff because I got taken down off of TikTok. I posted a video and I said, hey, here's two books. Here's a Klaus Schwab, COVID-19: The Great Reset. I said, here's How to Lie with Statistics, a book that even Bill Gates recommended, his quotes on the top. And that video was one of the videos that got taken out of a TikTok. And I was like, holy smokes, man, they really censor even harder than these other platforms. And I had 100,000 followers, not like bragging. I'm just saying I was killing it on TikTok, reaching a lot of people, probably a lot of young people that normally don't hear this stuff. And they took down my account. I'm going to talk about reasons why they might have. I'm not sure, but I got the axe pretty quickly compared to other people. But it's all good. I really wanted to read a quote from this book because I find it interesting listening to Klaus Schwab's worldview and what he has planned, his ideas for the world. Some would call it a conspiracy theory. Some would call it a hoax. I would just say I read and listen and learn, and I watch interviews and stuff. I don't just like pull this stuff out of nowhere. So mostly everything I say, if not everything I say, is always like sourced or documented. And when I don't know what I'm talking about, I admit that. So I'm a little stunned, but not really. It is what it is. We're going to talk about those two things. Hopefully it's interesting. And I wanted to say real quick as everyone come in, I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving and whatever, Cyber Monday, Black Friday. I have a 20% off sale. 3 days only is the code. All one word, 3 days only. If you use it, 20% off. It's a real sale, not a fake one. We'll read a few. What's up, Matrix Breaker? What's up, Perry Ford? What's up, Justin? I'll do some shout outs. Diane said the censorship's out of control. Mitch, yeah, it's to be expected, but I was like, darn, because TikTok, it wasn't like, it's so my biggest platform or I'm making a lot of money or anything. I really was excited because I was like, I'm reaching people in a different format, 30-second clips, 15-second clips, getting this information out to people who don't normally see it, doing dances on TikTok. And I was a little bummed. I was like, oh, shucks, it's not like a career ender, but I'm bummed that I can't get the information out to that crowd. But whatever. First thing I want to talk about before we talk about this quote, you're going to want to hear this quote. I logged into TikTok today because I did a podcast with someone named Ryan Long. He's a very funny comedian, and I was going to post a little clip from it. And then I logged in and said, you're banned. My guess is possibly I've heard that if a lot of people report you, they'll just ban you. And I had a viral video, and I just want to kind of defend myself and explain it because I was talking about Kamala Harris. If you guys saw on one of her Instagram pages, the seal was blurred. And I just asked a question. So it was like the perfect TikTok because you could share and duet and stitch and you can answer questions or work together. So I just threw it out there to the TikTok universe. And I said, hey, Kamala Harris had a seal blurred on her Instagram. I was like, does anybody know why that is? I didn't say why. I didn't say it was like a whole thing. I just said, that just looks strange to me. I don't know why. And a lot of people came and said, you're so stupid, blah, blah, blah. This is why there's this obscure code. Obama and Trump had even done it at certain times where the seal, you're not allowed to use it in marketing, etc. I just wanted to learn. I'm not a dummy. So if I don't know something, I ask questions. I was always like that in school. And it went viral for that reason because everybody found it either a little suspicious or they wanted to explain why. So I never spread fake information. I never said it was because Trump was still the president or anything. I never said any of that. I just said, hey, why is this like this? Because I've never seen it before. And people explained to me on both sides, this has been done. It's not often, but this is the thing with the seal. Maybe they mass reported me because of that or something. But like I said to the TikTok, to not bore you guys too much, I said to TikTok, I said, I'm not taking them to court, but I said in a court of law, if I sat here and there was a judge and you had your lawyer, I had mine, or we didn't have lawyers, it was just us, you wouldn't be able to prove one single thing I did fake because they took down like 5 or 6 of my videos. One of them, I'm just like, hey, read this book before they burn it. I literally am like, hey, here's 2 books. You should read them before they burn them. Ha, 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 ha. And they're like, ha, ha, burn. They censor that. So I'm like, do you guys have any shame at all? We'll see what happens. But I'm like, can you prove, just tell me, one video that you took down, one, where I said false information? They can't because I don't make mistakes like that on TikTok. I don't just say stupid crap. Everything I say is sourced, fact checked. I got videos of Rochelle Walensky saying it, and they just don't like it. So TikTok, screw you, but whatever. I don't really care. I know why they're mad. They're mad because I was crushing it too hard. Everything I was doing was going viral. Million views. I get it. They're mad. They can't make good content. On that note, actually, before I play this, I want to share a clip. I did a podcast with my buddy Ryan and Danny, and he said, I'm going to just play the clip. You're going to hear it. He said, wouldn't it be funny if we called like news hosts like Brian Stelter, if we just called them content creators? It's really funny. Take a listen. I think it's a good trend. So next time you talk about Anderson Cooper, Brian Stelter, don't call them news hosts, call them content creators. See how they like it.
I actually think the best thing that could ever happen is if they just start calling journalists like content creators. Like if you just like Brian Stelter or whatever, he's a content creator, not a journalist. They're all just like, even like, Tucker Carlson, content creators. Yeah. Well, they are. But the best would be like the guys on the right would be like, they would take it, but the guys on the left, like CNN people would melt down.
I thought that was hilarious on our podcast. He's like, start calling news hosts content creators. If you did that to Tucker Carlson, you're like, yo, Tucker Carlson's a good content creator. I doubt he would even care. But if you did that to like Brian Stelter and Don Lemon, you're like, yo, they're just content creators. They'd be like, gosh, darn it. I feel like Tucker would laugh and think it's funny. They'd be like, we're serious news hosts here, darn it. But whatever, just a little side note. All right. So I wanted to talk about this book because one of the TikToks I got censored on was I just held this book up and I said, hey, you should check it out. And I also did that on Facebook. This is kind of risky doing this, but I don't really care. One of the reasons I got my live streams taken away for a month, they took it away for a month on Facebook, my biggest platform, was because I literally just said, hey, this book is called How to Lie with Statistics. Okay. It's written by Daryl Huff. And it has a quote on the top by Bill Gates. It says, a great introduction to the use of statistics and a great refresher for anybody who's well-versed in it. And I'm just like, hey, you should check out these books. Censored on TikTok, banned on Facebook. These people are literally burning books. They write books or people write books, and then they don't even want you to repeat what's in the books. Like this is seriously World War II level authoritarianism that they're doing, folks. And it's not going to get better. Like these people are just going to keep going until people say, hey, you're going too far. But one of the most interesting books I bought over the last couple of years, this one's called COVID-19, The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab. And Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, which is a place where governments and corporations and billionaires go to talk about what they're doing. And if you listen to Klaus Schwab, I don't just talk about him and make up rumors. I study him and listen to public information. He has old interviews with Charlie Rose, and he kind of explains like, this is why I made World Economic Forum. I wanted corporations to come together with governments and work together. So I'm like, okay, corporations and governments merging, working together. I get it. As a human, we all got to work together at some point. I'm not into like global communism or anything, but I get where he's coming from, I guess. So I'm starting to read his book, not because I agree with him, but I just want to hear what he actually thinks. And I'm going to read you a quote from the book. This is on page, let me just open it up real quick because I have it. I believe I have it highlighted in the book. Let me see. I just want to be like really accurate so they don't like get upset, but I believe it's on one of the, oh, here it is. It's on page 78. So if you have the book, it's on page 78. I highlighted it. It says, COVID-19 is like, and this is Klaus Schwab, head of World Economic Forum, in his book, COVID-19, The Great Reset. He says, COVID-19 is likely to sound the death knell of neoliberalism, a corpus of ideas and policies that can loosely be defined as favoring competition over solidarity, creative destruction over government intervention, and economic growth over social welfare. So he says COVID-19 is going to be the death of neoliberalism. What he's explaining, because I'm actually not a fan of neoliberalism, but what he's explaining in my perspective is not neoliberalism, it's capitalism. He's saying he favors, and he says, this is the end of favoring competition over solidarity, creative destruction. He takes creativity and makes it sound destructive over government intervention. So he makes creativity sound bad, government intervention sound good, competition sound bad, solidarity sound good. And he said economic growth is bad and social welfare is good. That's what he's saying in his thing. So I've read the Communist Manifesto. I'm no dummy. I've read the whole book. What Klaus Schwab is suggesting that he's excited about is capitalism is dying and communism is growing. All these ideas that Karl Marx had and people that are progressive socialists, like, competition is bad. Like when you listen to Jordan Peterson is someone who got really famous for many reasons, but I believe one of the most important things that Jordan Peterson really pushed, besides anti-political correctness, was he explained the difference between equality of outcome and equality of opportunity. So what he was trying to explain, and he did a great job of it, I think, before he had his little like 2-year pill binge or whatever and came back. He's crushing it again now. I'm just saying he was like the height of his career. He dipped out and had a serious pill problem. God bless him and his family. I'm just saying that happened. Anyway, he was trying to explain to people, you could give everybody equal opportunity, every girl, every guy, but you're not going to get the equality of outcome. Like in the NBA, you could give every boy and every girl the chance to be Michael Jordan. You could give them the tools, the basketball, the court, the training, but not everybody's going to be that good. That's just how the world works. So there really is no such thing as equality. Like we all deserve, I believe, equal freedom and opportunity, and we deserve equal justice, all that stuff I believe in. But equality of outcome, it doesn't exist. Like you can't be somebody that's super successful if you don't work your butt off. Like you have to put in the work. You can't just sit on the couch and eat Cheetos and expect to get the same results as somebody that spends 1,000 hours working on something. So that's what I guess like people like myself and Jordan Peterson, although we're very different, we understand that in a fair society, no matter how fair and equal it is, you are never going to get equal outcome. It's just not possible because everybody's unique and different and good at different stuff. And that's not a bad thing. And competition is certainly not bad. Competition is amazing. If you look at America, some of the greatest things came out of America, whether it's flying planes, like surfing came out of Hawaii, it came here. We started the X Games. A lot of revolutionary ideas came out of the United States because we have more competition, because we have less socialism and communism historically. And I even have a book that G. Edward Griffin told me to read. I'm blanking on the name of it, but it kind of goes through human history and explains how some of the greatest creations ever usually come when there is competition and free enterprise, as opposed to government overreach. Government overreach usually tends to lead to less innovation, just naturally. It's like if you have 15 brothers and you guys are all competing at a young age, you're going to get better at whatever you're doing if you just sat in the corner by yourself. Like competition's a great thing. And Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum, one of the most powerful people on the planet, he writes in his book, COVID-19 is likely to sound the death knell of neoliberalism, and he calls it a corpus of ideas and policies that can be loosely defined as favoring competition over solidarity, creative destruction over government intervention, and economic growth over social welfare. I actually completely disagree with him on this. I don't think that's neoliberalism. It's roughly capitalism or libertarianism, but I believe competition is better than solidarity. Yes, we got to get together, but at the same time, you can't just eliminate competition. That leads to a terrible, terrible society. Then he has creative destruction over government intervention. He believes government intervention is better than creative destruction. I don't think creative destruction is the right way to put creativity, but I think creativity is better than government intervention, which he doesn't. And then lastly, he says economic growth is, he believes it's worse than social welfare. And as much as I believe we should help people, I'm not all for like crony capitalism where you're growing at all costs. I think we should have a moral growth, but he says social welfare. It's like, I get what he's pointing to, but how do you do that? For instance, Los Angeles, there's a lot of welfare programs in Los Angeles, but it's not a great place for the lower class or middle class. And it's certainly not even a great place for the homeless. So you can have all these ideas of welfare, but if you don't know how to implement them, you're going to ruin an entire society for everybody. If you ruin competition, you're not going to create a great society. So the point I'm trying to get is I say this stuff when I make my videos. I can't speak for everybody else because there's some people who like to speculate and create theories. And I don't think there's really a problem with that. But one of the reasons I'm so hard to censor, although they still do it, they ban me from TikTok, they take away my live streams, but they can't even figure out why, because I don't come out here and just make up things about Klaus Schwab. I can't tell. I'm reading his book. In his own words, he favors communist socialist society over a capitalist like free enterprise society. And he makes that so clear when you read his book. And he talks about what he thinks should happen from the COVID-19 and how the reset should happen. But the reason I'm talking about it, besides that it's interesting, is if you say these things like out of context, people will be like, dude, that's a conspiracy. The Great Reset's it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a book. It's a book that I've been banned. I've been banned and censored on TikTok for this book. I've been censored on Facebook for talking about how to lie with statistics. We live in an authoritarian society like we learned about, except like in history, certain people who burn books, I don't agree with burning any books, but they don't really teach you in school, but some of the books they were burning were like degenerate pornography books and stuff. And I still, in a free enterprise, I don't agree with banning books, because then it's like you ban this. Next thing you know, you're banning everything. But like, we live in a psycho society where they're banning a book about statistics. They're banning a literal book written by Klaus Schwab. You can buy it, but you can't talk about it. Like, this is like escalating past the levels of even some of the worst World War II regimes. And I say that not saying that I'm the victim, that it's as bad as World War II, but it will be. And I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just saying, if people don't get how serious this type of stuff is, they're going to learn the hard way. And I'm not fear mongering about it. I'm optimistic, grateful. I want everybody to have an amazing weekend. But what people don't realize, like, you look in the eyes of Michael Gunner from Australia. This is the type of guy that I could see in a couple months or in a year, literally trying to hold people down and force vaccinating them against their will, because he's psycho. He's like, you are an anti-vaxxer even if you got vaccinated. If you even agree with anything on the other side, you are the other side and you're the enemy. Like, where do people think this is going? Mass testing, mass masking. There is no end date to this stuff. So I pray, because I know a lot of people are kind-hearted people, right? Everybody wants to just be like, oh, COVID's going to go away. Is it though? There's the new variant they announced today. This stuff is so predictable, folks. There's a great quote from Mike Cernovich. I forget exactly what he said. I'm going to roughly quote it. But he was talking about how some of these, between the pills and the vaccines over the course of the next year, they're on pace to make like $500 billion. I mean, if this goes for 20 years, they're on pace to make $1 trillion. Do you think people wouldn't lie or wouldn't exaggerate or wouldn't want something to go that they're making this much money? Like, this is never going to end, because there's people making a fortune off this stuff. Hundreds of thousands of restaurants went out of business, but if you look at some of the biggest billionaires, they are doing just fine. So they don't have an incentive like the normal person to end this type of stuff. So I pray that people are paying attention, because when you see the type of stuff that I'm reading from the people who run the world and the people who, congregate together and really make ideas, the biggest corporations and the biggest governments, they come to the World Economic Forum and they talk about what they want to do. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not like guessing what they're doing. They're writing what they think all the time. I've read a bunch of books in the last couple of years from people that I disagree with. I have books from communists and socialists and Leninists. Like, I don't read it because I agree with it. I just want to know what they're thinking. So when I read the Communist Manifesto, I'm like, oh, that's what the communism is. Communism is not peace, love, and positivity. Like, we're all just going to chill. It's like, you don't own private property. Even most communists like that are like, yo, I just want to live in Hawaii and smoke weed. In their head, they're like, yo, that's still my house though, right? We're going to share it, but like, I still own. So like, no, you don't own anything. So who's going to enforce it? You're going to have some sort of government or some sort of leader that decides that, they control all communication, and then they're supposed to spread it out evenly. Of course they're not. So this is the type of stuff they have planned. They are gleefully trying to create an entire government, or world government, where the corporations and the government work together, and they're trying to, in their own words, eliminate, creativity, competition. And this is the exact opposite of what I believe, and a lot of smart people believe, created one of the greatest societies on earth, and a society that constantly innovates and creates and, invents things that the rest of the world uses. You got to have competition. As nice as I am, I'm a very nice person. I like to share. I believe in, welfare that's optional, that I tip a lot and I try to help out. I try to donate clothes when I can, etc. But competition is a very important part of my life. I compete with myself every day. I love basketball. The world doesn't operate unless there's some form of competition. Even when you have a job, like incentives and bonuses, these are not necessarily bad things. It's actually like fun. Even with my job now, it's like, it's great that things are monetized. I worked my butt off when it wasn't, but it is a beautiful thing. Like, if you're working hard at your job and your boss says, hey, if you work even harder and put in even more work, I'm going to give you a 20% bonus. That's not a bad thing. That's like, oh, we're rewarding workers who work harder. And I love that. I think the worker who works harder deserves $30,000 more a year, not the guy who sits on his butt and does bare minimum. So they're trying to eliminate competition, bring in government intervention. And I just wanted to say, whenever I say certain stuff, this is all from this book. It's all in here. And there's even a diagram. I'll show you on YouTube. I apologize, on Facebook, it's going to be backwards. But if you want to look, someone could screenshot this if you want. I'll show you it's backwards. He has a whole diagram in this book, Klaus Schwab, the macro reset, he calls it, where he talks about, feel free to screenshot it and look at it later. He kind of talks about exactly what he thinks is most important. And right in the middle, it says climate action failure. So that's the most important thing to Klaus Schwab. He's most concerned about climate action failure. Social instability is there, involuntary migration, cyber attacks, water crisis. There's nothing wrong with it. He's allowed to think that, right? He's allowed to plan things, but in a free society, I'm allowed to speak about it and I'm allowed to analyze it. But that's what they don't want to do. I'm not blaming him specifically, but they want to do all these things that are not historically popular, especially in America, and make it illegal for us to weigh in on it. And that comes from, I'm not going to say him specifically, but if you read certain texts like the Communist Manifesto, they don't believe in freedom of speech. That's an American thing. I'm not going to say a capitalist thing, because capitalists can be crony as well. But an American thing is like, everybody deserves a chance to criticize your government. There's a lot of religions in a lot of countries where they don't believe in that. So in the Communist Manifesto, they don't say, hey, you should be able to question us. They're like, no, we want to control all communication, all transportation. They want total dominance over every industry, and they want to manage it. And this is why communism always fails, because by design, it's the centralization of power, which is like what Bitcoin people are trying to get. Like, oh, we want it to be decentralized. Like communism is the exact opposite. It's total centralization. And then they're going to tell you what you can and can't say and what you can and can't do. That's the type of world we're building. And I really do pray that a lot of people are paying attention. Don't be afraid of it. Don't freak out about it. Handle it well. But I'm hoping that we can wake more and more people up, because I think generally, especially in America, it's pretty good in America. It's pretty good in most parts of the world, not everywhere, but a lot of parts. And people are very naive. They're kind-hearted. They mean well, and they don't even understand that there's people that are manipulating society to really change everything that they're used to into a whole new system. And this is why COVID feels so weird, because it's like they're not just changing health things, which is weird enough. You got to wear a mask. You can't go here. They're changing all of society purposely. And they're writing about it, saying, oh, this isn't just about a virus. We are going to completely change the entire global government, corporate ideas of how they work together. And here on out, it's never going to be the same. They're not. And when I talk to most people, people are like, yeah, it's going to go back. We're going to go back to how it used to be, just like a month, 2 more months. Like it's been 2 years. Like maybe in the spring. No, I'm telling you, it's not. And I'm not telling you because I know so much, or I'm a wizard, or people are like, anomalies of prophet. I could be cocky and be like, oh my God, I'm so smart. I'm a wizard. I'm a prophet. No, I just read stuff. I'm not that smart. I'm not stupid, but in general, it's like, I'm reading what they're writing. The reason I know is because they say this stuff publicly. They say it in interviews. They write books about it. I read the books, and then I get called a Looney Tune conspiracy theorist when I'm reading what they're writing. I don't have to agree with communism. I don't have to agree with the elimination of competition. I don't have to agree with government intervention as a solution over creativity. That sounds like hell. That sounds like an authoritarian regime, which is why everything seems so authoritarian. This is not a temporary thing. This is not you go get your 2 things of vaccine. They are literally reshaping society in the vision that they want it, which is more control for the government and corporate class combined. And they have zero plans of going back. That's all I'm saying. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be scared. But when I talk to people that I know are great people, they don't get this stuff, and they don't get it because they're not reading what they're writing, which is not a big deal. But that's, what I'm here for. I got a platform. I still have a voice right now. I'm just trying to let people know you can learn about what they're doing through the text that they themselves either write or tell people to read. And then I still get banned for doing it because that's what they're doing. They don't want people to question them. And on Facebook, I just want to let you know what they were doing for a while. I'm very grateful. Like I said, I'm almost at 1 billion minutes watched. So I'm grateful that I've slipped through the cracks. But they've changed their rules in some cases to say, we don't even care if you're technically telling the truth. Like there's this one policy on Facebook where they say, even you don't have to be wrong. You don't have to be fake news. But if you're influencing people to not want to get the vaccine in any way, we can that's against our community guidelines. That's one of the Facebook rules. And it's like they specify yeah, it could be true. You could be talking about the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act or the PrEP Act, or you could have a friend that that had a side effect, or it doesn't have to be fake. You don't have to have fake, because don't get me wrong, there are people who are lying about the vaccine on both sides that have misinformation, but Facebook sets these policies that says Well, we don't even really care if you're telling the truth. It's just like if you're telling the truth and your factual statements, whether it's CDC, FDA, whatever, go against our narrative, we can censor you. That's why I never sued, because in my life, I like to keep it simple. I'm a beach type of guy. I'm a sporty guy. I'm not the type of person that wants to be suing everyone all the time. But I believe I possibly had a case against NPR, because what happened was I posted a video of Jen Psaki saying that these vaccines are FDA approved. And when she said that, they actually were not FDA approved, and it said it on the FDA website. So Jen Psaki was lying. Like, I could prove that in a court, wherever. Okay, so I posted that video and I said something in my title, and NPR wrote this whole case and said, not only is a conspiracy theorist, whatever, that's their opinion, I'm not, but, and then they said, he technically lied and Facebook took it. I'm like, you can say that Facebook censored me, because that is true. But they said in their article, they said that he lied in his, subtitle or whatever I wrote above the title when I shared my own video. I didn't. I could prove that in court. And technically, they're lucky that I'm lazy / a peaceful guy that doesn't want to get entangled with NPR. But I believe I had a libel and a defamation case, because they could make excuses and they could make fake labels for me, but they're not allowed to say that I told a factual lie when I didn't. I could prove that. I don't make huge errors like that. And if I do, I correct myself immediately, unlike the news. So if I actually cared and I was a bigger deal and I had lawyers on lock, I could have probably won a defamation case, and they would have at least had to retract that statement. But that's, no one reads their articles, so I don't even really care that much. They write an article, nobody respects them anymore. There are people on the left wing that are semi-respected. I'll tell you, it's not NPR. There's not very many people looking at them. Like, they've embarrassed themselves so many times with these dummy articles that, people are going towards Joe Rogan. People are listening to me, Tim Pool. People are listening to Russell Brand. I don't like Bill Maher specifically, and I don't trust him, but even he makes good points sometimes. Jimmy Dore is a progressive socialist type of guy, but even he has more integrity. I don't agree with him. I think he's a little naive in certain cases, but I like Jimmy Dore and I respect him as a person. These people that work for these news sources, nobody likes them anymore. And that's why they want to get rid of competition. To bring it back to the Great Reset, in a competitive arena, now you have, this is actually one of the greatest times in human history, where I could be an electrician, a truck driver, a dishwasher. I could have $0 in the bank account, but if I can afford a phone, whether I rent it or buy it, I can now compete with Rachel Maddow. I can now compete with Tucker Carlson. And that's what's happening. It's not really a bad thing. It's everybody has somewhat of an equal opportunity, which is what Jordan Peterson, you can't control the outcome, but if everybody has an opportunity, that would be a great world to live in. So now that we all have equal opportunity, Brian Stelter, dude, he's not competitive. He can't compete. You know what I'm saying? He's not an impressive human being. He's not a good news journalist. Don Lemon's played out. Joy Reid is like, as far as even liberals go, I don't even think she's like a top 50, intellect on the left wing. So they're getting crushed in the ratings. And this is why they're doing what, our buddy Klaus wants to do. It's like, oh, competition's bad. Government intervention's good. And that's what people say when they can't compete. If I can't compete with, the Chicago Bulls, yeah, I would like if you stopped them from being so good. And then you lowered the rim for me and I dunked it and I said I'm as good. Like, that's what they're doing. And it's actually a beautiful thing, because nobody wants to listen to them. People are gravitating towards what's real and honest and what relates. And I'm very grateful to say, and I'm going to answer some questions in a second, I'm grateful to every time I go somewhere, somebody talks to me. Like, I went to a theme park and I got stopped a bunch of times, but I love when it's people who work there. Like, somebody who worked at the park said something to me. I went to a comedy show the other day, somebody who worked there. People who have jobs and actually work seem to like what I'm saying. It's like anytime I took an Uber when I was in Los Angeles, whether the Uber driver was black, whether he was Hispanic, whether he was white, 9 times out of 10, my Uber driver was conservative, or at least was not liberal. Like, I had this guy that was like, I'm talking like black, not like, Sean King black. I'm talking like this dude was like, super from Sudan. He was Sudanese. He had Sean Hannity on the radio. He had broken English. He said, I just came from Sudan. He was banging Sean Hannity through his speakers, because it's like, he works. He understands what taxes and cost of living are. So working people are not listening to Joy Reid and stuff, because that's not the world they live in. They don't live in this world where they're afraid of Charlottesville every day. They live in a world where gas prices are too high, and they're aware that Joe Biden is largely, if not completely, responsible for that. People think I'm so mean because I say that Trump played a role in the inflation with printing trillions of dollars. A role, not the entire thing, but a small role. Biden, I would say, is totally responsible for the gas prices because he shut down a pipeline and then they go up and then he's like getting into the emergency reserves because he's such an idiot. It's like that's his fault. I'm an honest person. I don't play team red, team blue. I'm dumb. I'm gonna play dumb when my guy does it. I tell you guys the truth. And working people see this stuff. They're the ones footing the bill. So they like us. They like normal people that say things that are like accurate. They don't like hysterical people on television. That's why they want to get rid of competition because they can't compete. They can only compete when they censor and silence people. And that's something that I'll never do. I'll make jokes that people don't like. I'll do little spoofs about certain people and people get offended. But one thing I will never do is try to cut a man's tongue out. Because if you cut a man's tongue out, you prove that, something was going on. Yes, I'll ban people on my Twitter sometimes, but I'm not kicking you off of the entire platform. It's just like if I'm sitting at a diner and you're yelling in my ear, I'm just like, go away, go talk somewhere else. You're annoying me. But I would never advocate, even the dumbest person that I've seen spewing lies on YouTube. I would never say to censor them. I just make a video and explain why they're wrong. I think someone who's made a career off of this would be Actual Justice Warrior. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's got a pretty big YouTube account. He's got great engagement. He doesn't have the most followers, but his engagement's through the roof. He's really killing it. Actual Justice Warrior has made a career as a normal guy reviewing stupid liars on YouTube and calling them liars. He's made the perfect career. He doesn't censor people, but he reviews their videos, plays clips, and says, here's why Cenk Uyghur's lying. Here's why, Anna Kasparian's lying. And he's made a career doing that. And then someone on the Young Turks could do the same thing to him. That's the freedom of speech. You don't have to cut a man's tongue out to be right, which is what a lot of the people on the left want to do. Explain why what they're saying is wrong. I've done that for every theory I've disagreed with. So that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to hang out for probably like 30 minutes or so. I'm chilling. Then I'm going to try to finish my book. And thank you guys, everybody who supported for Black Friday. I've never done a Black Friday sale, but we did. I got these sweatshirts, the Dream Rare. By the way, if you ordered a Dream Rare hoodie, folks, they're being stitched as we speak. I got a picture today of them being stitched. We got them being stitched in the USA. The material made in the USA. Everything's USA. I don't do the China, Indonesia. I do everything in the US. But anyway, it's being stitched. Those are going to be in our hands this week. We'll ship them out. This is in. All this stuff is in. The sale, before I forget it, is 3 days only. That's the name. 3 days only. It ends on Sunday. Maybe I'll extend it till Monday, but thank you guys who've capitalized on that. A lot of people have, and I'm really grateful. I'm glad I thought to sell clothes and stuff because I never had anything, and I was like, I thought of the idea. God is great. The God bless, and I like that it's bigger than me. Yeah, I put anomaly on some things, but I like that the message here. It's I didn't do this to grift off of God or anything. I could have just been like, I'm so cool, legend or whatever. It's cool, but I think I feel great wearing this. When people see this, someone says, you connect with other people who believe in God, and it's a beautiful thing. Like old ladies, like, I love your shirt. And then I have an hour talk about Jesus, and it's epic. So I'm so glad I thought of these two things to put on clothes because it's so much more rewarding and fun to wear than just like, I'm dope, supreme. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's a good message and it just feels good. These are comfiest. Anybody who gets my sweatshirts, let me know how comfy they are. I'm not just saying this. It's like the comfiest sweatshirt I have. Update on the book. How's it coming? Thank you for asking, Brooke. It's coming very well. I'm just finalizing it and making sure it's good. Then I'm going to send it to my friend to format it, but it's coming great. I have a lot to add. So I've been going through every chapter. I'm getting very close. I'm fortifying the book. I think it's going to be great. I think I'm a pretty good writer. Hopefully my spelling is good and my punctuation, but I think it is pretty good. Someone said you don't have to explain yourself. Yeah, I know, but I just want to let you guys know what I'm thinking. It's not like, oh, I'm here to silence the haters. I just want to let you know why I like it, why I picked it, and why I'm glad I did. It's not. Someone said, that's me, old lady. It's okay. I act like an old man now. That's why I'm home all the time. I don't go out anymore. Thank you, Lou. Someone said the beanies are sold out again. Yeah, they're sold out. I apologize. I'm guessing I'm going to sell out of everything. I could check right now real quick, but I'll tell you how many I have left of everything. And I don't know that I'll be able to get anything before Christmas. So, uh, no, we got a good amount of hoodies in. So we got like 100, we got 115 Dream Rare hoodies left. We have 0 beanies. We have 387 white hats. I mean, those are going to sell out in like a week or two at this rate. I got to buy more. God is Great hoodies. We have 164. God is Great tees. We have 42. 25 way too jack for the gulag tanks, 31. So the tank tops are almost out because no one really buys tank tops in the winter. Some people do, but everything we have like 100 left. But at this rate, I don't know. They'll probably sell out before Christmas, and we're not going to buy new ones. So if you want any of this stuff, just grab it before it's gone, and hopefully I'll get more stuff eventually. Someone said, "Hey, bro, I was in Colorado and I went to a bar and there was a God bless. There was a bouncer who was wearing a God bless hat and we connected there over it. It's dope, Mr. Dope Man. I appreciate that. That's awesome that you saw someone wearing a hat. And I'm not even like this could be a sales pitch because I could just be like, oh, you wear this shirt and everyone loves it. Like I wear a lot of clothes. I don't just wear my own clothes. I get more compliments on my own shirts and my own hats than any other clothes. And it's like when people see it, this is my favorite part about it. Like you both know who I am, so you guys connect over that. That's Anomaly's hat. But like even if you don't know who I am or they don't know who I am, it's just like you see God is great, and it's like oh that, and then it's somebody who likes God. It's somebody who thinks that's cool. You know, like no one with low energy is going to be like nice hat. You know, they're like oh it's been epic. I've had like 10 people be like oh man that's sweet, and then I'm like godblesshats.com, go get one for yourself. They're mine. You know, I'll throw a sale in there. Someone said, listen to your interview with Ryan Long. It was fun. Thank you, Paul. I'm glad you liked it. You know, it was interesting, man, because Ryan and Danny are 2 comedians and they're both really funny. So I felt like I was laughing a lot. I love comedy. I used to like going to the Comedy Store before LA went communist, but man, it's funny being on a podcast where they're both so funny. I felt like I was laughing for so much of the time. And some people maybe thought I was like faking it or something. I'm like, no, I'm the type of person when I go to if it's funny, I laugh. I'm not, sometimes someone drops the funniest joke at a comedy thing. I'm laughing and like someone next to me is like not even laughing. And I'm like, everyone's got their own taste, but I'm like, how is that not funny? Man, Ryan and Danny had such funny jokes. I went to their show. Ryan, I'm trying to think of what they were saying, but it was so good, man. I haven't seen a comedy show in a while. Yeah, the beanies are sold out. I see someone saying that. I'll try to get more, but I can't get those ones, and I want those ones. I like the material. I like the shape of it. I personally have a big head, so I had 6 different beanies to try on, and they were all too small, and they squeezed my head. And my guy was like, "You like that one?" And listen, I'm not going to sell stuff I don't like, so I couldn't. I was like, that one was big and thick. If I can't find that one, I'm out of the beanie game until I can. What podcast? It's called the Boys Cast. So if you spell Boys Cast, BOYSCAST. His name is Ryan Long. You've probably seen his stuff before. If you search Ryan Long on YouTube, he's got some really viral, funny videos where he's got the woke and the racist, and like the woke and the racist are exactly the same person. Like, you guys ever seen that skit before? It's pretty funny. New variant thoughts, said Donna. I mean, I think they're going to keep this going forever. This is what I think, because I understand COVID-19 and coronaviruses. I understand that they're different than influenza, right? Thank you, Lara. I saw your comment. I understand that a coronavirus is different from an influenza virus, but here's what I have to say. I study, like, I don't just like look at stuff. I'm always studying. And when I studied about the flu and the flu vaccine, I've said this a few times, but in the Scientific American, the flu vaccine every year, they just kind of guess. This is what they do because there's different strains or strands of influenza. So they go to the World Health Organization and they try to get 2 different vaccines for the different hemispheres. This is what they do. It's right in the Scientific American. And they don't always nail it. And it's like they admit in the Scientific American, sometimes we miss the mark. There's a whole article that says the flu vaccine this year missed the mark. So if people don't study history, it's like you're doomed to repeat the history that you don't learn about, like World War II, World War I, whatever. That's what they like. If people are, I'm not trying to be mean, but if people are too dumb to like learn how things work, then this is never going to end. I've said this for like a year and a half. I'm not saying it to be edgy. Like I don't want this to end. I see what they're doing. They're testing everyone with a PCR test. This is clearly something that's common. You have vaccinated people who are fully vaccinated testing positive for it twice under a month. You know what I'm saying? So if this coronavirus is common, like the common cold is, I'm not saying it's the common cold, but if it's as common as the common cold, it might never go away because not everything reaches herd immunity through vaccine or not. The common cold is 2 to 3 times a year you might get it, but that doesn't mean you don't ever get it again. You just keep getting it all the time. I don't get common cold once and it goes away. If this is anything like that, this is never going away. So there's going to be a new strain, a new vaccine, a new pill. It's like what? There's a lot of things. And if you look at the Center for Disease Control, God bless their souls, but look at certain diseases in the world. Has diabetes been eliminated? No. And not both types of it, but definitely the one type is preventable. And that's not going down. Cancer's not going away. There's different diseases that they're not able to eliminate. Who told everybody that just because, Rochelle Walensky or Dr. Fauci says that it's gone, or we found a cure, so it's the cure. That's not how medicine works. That's how propaganda works. I hope that their medicine works well, but you don't just snap your fingers and cure a disease. Like, that's not how the medicine industry works. It's not how the flu vaccine worked. It's not how the Lymerix vaccine worked, which was taken off the market, the Lyme disease vaccine. It's not how cancers worked or diabetes has worked. So they have different ways to try to combat these illnesses, and God bless them. But they told everybody that this product is the greatest thing ever, and you're not allowed to say otherwise. And unfortunately, reality does not mirror that false hypothesis that you're not allowed to question this and it's got to work great and we're going to defeat it. And, now it's such a joke. And I pray that people really come to their senses because, I think the future of the country and the future of the world depends on it, depends on people coming to their senses. That's really what's the solution. I don't know. Come to the senses. People are telling me to block someone. I'm not even reading the comments, but let me see. I don't even see the guy you guys are talking about. I'll look for it though. You really want me to block this guy? I don't care. He's saying Trump is Jesus or something, and he's saying frankspeech.com. I'm not going to block him. If he wants to say that, I don't agree with it, but he's plugging Mike Lindell's website. Listen, if he wants to do that, it's fine. I don't suggest that you spam. I mean, I guess if you're going to spam it 50 times, you want me to block this guy? All right, fine, I'll block him. I don't like to block people for disagreeing, but if he's spamming the same thing 1,000 times, if you guys want it, I appreciate my Facebook followers. Okay, he's blocked. I got you. Someone said Anomaly, start selling some apparel for pets, shirts and bandanas would sell. I'll look into it, Lily. I have a few ideas that I'm working on. It's just I always want to make sure it's quality, made in America. I'm not even kidding. Like this feels like a cloud. I'm not trying to Mike Lindell this situation, but this is like the most comfortable beanie I have. I'm not just saying that. If this sucks, I have like 7 different 7 different sweatshirts. The inside of this one is fire. Like I love it. So these are expensive sweatshirts too. You could probably buy sweatshirts from China for like $15. These sweatshirts cost me like over 30 something per, even though I'm buying them in bulk. And this is before we print them and stitch them, you know what I'm saying, which costs money too. These are expensive sweatshirts. The profit margins are not that big on them. I don't like to sell things for 50 something dollars, but I believe that these sweatshirts, some of them cost, I'm not even kidding, $40. $40 for a sweatshirt if it's XXL and there's more things, and that's in bulk. That's why I had to sell them that high. But it's worth it because they're made in the USA. They're not, BS foreign products, and it's hella comfortable. So I like that. But I'm always trying to get stuff as quality as possible. I can't say, I'm sure I'll slip up sometimes, but I'm doing my best. And let me know. We have a full-time, he takes breaks and chills out too, but we have a great guy. I have a great guy doing customer service. So feel free to reach out, give us your feedback. We want to hear it. We want to hear anything, complaints. I mean, don't scam me, but I'm sure someone said they missed it and we give the money back. Even if you're lying, it's fine. Just don't lie to us. More beanies. I told y'all, I wish I had beanies. I'm not gonna sacrifice quality for money at this point. I like those beanies. If I could find another one I like as much, I'll sell them. If not, I'll just wait. It makes it more special too. If you can't get it, you got it. You got the limited edition. What's up, Kevin? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Melissa said you have great discernment. I appreciate it. I do my best. I fall short sometimes, but I like to think that it's gotten better over the years. I asked somebody on Twitter, I said, do you think discernment is given like a God's gift, or do you think it's learned? Most people said learned. And I think it's a combination. Some people have good instinct naturally, but I do believe that, I did not have the best discernment when I was younger. And over time, I think I got a little better. So someone said, I can't even afford American made. I used to be able to. I got good stuff from yard sales from time to time regarding fishing tackles. It's expensive. That's what we're trying to do with usaproductsonly.com. It's a shame I'm so busy, but we have a website, usaproductsonly.com. We have over 230 businesses there now. We're trying to create a website. Go there, and if you have a USA business, we're trying to create the greatest website for USA made stuff and create like a hub and grow that. So I'm working on that. I just got 8 things, so I get stressed out sometimes, but I'm trying to make America great again in the words of the great Donald Trump. We're doing our part. Someone said wisdom comes from the Holy Spirit. I think so. I mean, I don't know everything, but I do think that, in some cases, people have gifts, right? They have physical gifts, mental gifts, spiritual gifts, like wisdom gifts. But I also think that certain people don't unlock their gift, right? So I think it's like my one friend, his father, who's also my friend, he's a pastor, and he used to say that, at his sermons, I watched him speak in West Hollywood one time. His name is Pastor Keith. He's a great guy. He was saying, you can't just sit on the couch and say, oh, pray to Jesus. Like, it's nice to sit, but he's like, you got to make moves. Jesus gave you certain things, but you got to use it. So there's a lot of people that have gifts that they don't use, or, anything you don't work on gets rusty. It's like your body. If you don't make it move, it doesn't move. So I think, it is the Holy Spirit, but at the same time, I think that, you have to put it into action. And I think that God blesses, I'm not going to say everybody, but most people, if they work with what he gave you, what I'm saying, the blessings will become abundant. So I think, some people, it's like, oh, I'm just going to sit there and pray and it's all going to come to me. And it's like, no, you definitely got to you got to use what he gave you. You got to be grateful, appreciative, and really work hard. You can't just sit there and, even the smartest person with the highest IQ will become an idiot if he doesn't, have, I guess, low ego or self-awareness. So you could be really, really smart and have God, but if you don't use them and you get too, full of yourself or something, I think you could easily waste it or lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. So what do I know though? Someone said, don't bury your talents. Yeah. And not only don't bury your talents, if I could get inspirational for a second, if you work hard enough at something, you get better. I always use my harmonica for an example, but like people are like, oh, you're pretty good at the piano. You're pretty good at the harmonica. I'm not good because God made me amazing at the harmonica. I'm good because I practice. I went to class for a couple of years in school and I learned how music worked. I didn't know how it worked automatically. So I think, yes, talent's important. Obviously, it's good to have a God's gift, and a lot of people do. But hard work is like 80-90% of the equation. The most talented person, if he sits on the couch, it doesn't matter. Someone with 1/8 of the talent, if he works 8 times as hard, he's going to make it every time. So I feel like some people are like, man, you're so good at that. I'm like, you don't know how long I worked at it. Even basketball, soccer, I'm very good at soccer. I played my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I probably put in tens of thousands of hours into it. I played piano for hundreds of hours. I'm not naturally good. I'm actually bad. I'm actually not good at it. I just work at it. So same with video editing. I'm not good at video editing. I learned how to do it. So, hopefully that's inspiring to people, because some people think it's just like, oh man, you just got good. It's like, no, I studied and I learned. And if you take the time to do that, this is like the greatest time ever. They got tutorials and notes on the internet. I used to have to go to the store to buy notes. Now I could just Google Neil Young and I could learn how to play it instantly. So, it's talent matters, but honestly, hard work and persistence and patience and stuff, that's like 90% of the equation. I know some people that are genius level thinkers who become, they don't do anything, because it's like you definitely got to practice and stay persistent at anything. Where can you find the book? My book or Klaus Schwab's book? I'm not trying to sell his book, but if Klaus Schwab's book is on Amazon and somewhere else, sure. My book is, I'm not sure. It probably will be on Amazon because I don't know how else to sell it, but it's not out yet. One of these days I got to play a bit for us. I have a piano here. I'll bring it out sometimes. I have my harmonica over there. I do play the harmonica sometimes. What is the sweatshirt made of? It doesn't say. Honestly, I don't feel like taking it off now, but I would say maybe part, don't quote me on this, but maybe part cotton, part polyester. I'm not 100% sure though. I'd have to look, but I'll to let you know, I'll add that to the website. I apologize for it not being there. It's super comfy, but I'm not like a connoisseur of like materials. I'll figure it out. Can we see how the hoodie looks? This is the hoodie. So it looks like this. Can you see it on Facebook? This is what it looks like. What's up, Greg? All right. So Mike said, why this on Friday night? Let's go meet some chicks. I didn't even know it was Friday. I forgot, but there's someone that I'm kind of seeing. So I already spent time with somebody that I like, but I like, I'm having a good time. I like hanging out with my friends and family and, people that I like. But as far as, I don't know, drinking and stuff, I like to go out. I had fun on Wednesday. I went to Ryan's show and did a podcast, but I like to work, honestly. I think part of that comes from, one, I have the greatest job ever. I could just talk and it's, that's easy and fun. And also, I don't know, I was struggling for a while. So once you got stuff rolling, I don't know. I feel like this is fun for me. I like making money on Black Friday sales and talking about Klaus Schwab and having fun. It's a good time, but maybe one day we'll go out drinking when the time's right. Star said, I love my shirts and beanies, keeping me warm. I appreciate it. Can we see how the hood looks over the head? Sure. Hold on. So this is the hood. This is the hood. It's got this. Oh, it's nothing really on the back. It's got these things for your hands. So it's pretty, it feels good, but I'm not, it don't got anything too special. It don't got like a secret contraption or anything. I don't know. It's got, I'm like, yo, you press a button, a private jet appears and you can fly to Ecuador. It's like, no, I'm just kidding. Someone said Jesus' hair doesn't go well with the hood. I'm more of a beanie guy, but whatever. I don't really care. Sometimes I don't really care what I look like. Do I make a hunting orange one? Just black for now. I keep it simple. But I'll expand next year, try to get different styles, better, I'll try to up everything and get more stuff. But for now, I buy everything in bulk. So I'm just keeping it simple. I like to wear black stuff too. I don't know why. I like black shirts. I have a lot of black like tank tops and stuff. So I apologize if I'm not. Who is my favorite pastor that we might have never heard of? I don't know, because to be honest, I don't really listen to like sermons online. I don't listen to like full sermons, but I always mention Pastor Anderson because he's wild. I can't say I agree with him on everything, and I'm sure we would disagree on quite a lot politically and socially, but I think Pastor Anderson makes really good documentaries, honestly. I think his Marching to Zion documentary is fantastic, and the Sodomite Deception's a pretty solid one too. It's, I like things that push the boundaries. So for instance, I watch Ryan Long do comedy. He's joking about every race, every gender. Like, I like that stuff. I don't know. Some people would call them racist and, whatever, homophobic. To me, it's just interesting. So I wouldn't say he's like the greatest pastor. He's kind of a madman, but I think his documentaries are pretty interesting and solid. And, I've always liked things that push the boundaries. you're not going to offend me by saying something edgy. Like, I don't know. That doesn't like, I've never thought that way. When I was 18, I used to listen to like Anthony Jeselnik's comedy. He was saying psycho stuff, but I don't know. I thought it was funny. I've always thought it was like interesting or funny. So this whole political correctness thing like went over me. And I feel like now the left wing has gone full blown authoritarian, but I even think part of the right wing is always virtue signaling too. Cause like, yeah, that's too much for me. Yeah, I get it. Not everybody's going to like everything, but to me, I like to hear, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I want to learn things. So if I could watch something, I don't have to agree with the whole thing. I just want to learn something new. And I feel like with this book, like this is why I'm not going to say I know everything because I clearly don't, but like I learned because I don't like Klaus Schwab. I don't agree with him. I'm not a fan, but I read the book not because I agree with him. I read it because I want to learn, so that's what those documentaries, some people will see them and be like, oh my God, this is terrible. And I'm like, I learn quite a bit by listening to people that say things that I don't know about. That's how I learn. I don't just listen to people who agree with me all the time. Then I wouldn't know anything. But that's what a lot of people like to do, right? They like to watch things of people who just say what they want them to say. And I'm guilty of that sometimes as well. Someone said, are you in your 20s or 30s? Check out Pastor Dan Muller. I'm in my 30s, early 30s. Someone said, you got to check out Pastor Jason Lyles talks about distant starlight. Let me see. Did I go over the TikTok ban? Yeah, I already talked about it. Someone said Anthony Jeselnik is hilarious, right? I think he's funny. But like, if you caught a quote of Anthony Jeselnik, they'd be like, yo, this guy's a full-blown psychopath. And it's like, yeah, but that's kind of part of the comedy though, so there's people in politics that are like that. I don't condemn anybody really. I mean, there's people I don't like, but I'm trying to hear what they're saying. I don't know, 9 times out of 10, the people that they're condemning, there's some sort of value there, That's why there's even left-wing people that I don't agree with, but they have value. I'm looking for value. There is no value listening to Brian Stelter. There's no value listening to Joy Reid. Sometimes Jimmy Dore will have something valuable. I don't agree with his politics, but there's some value. Glenn Greenwald, I don't agree with his politics, but he has value. I like Glenn Greenwald. That's what I think of. Even like people on the right, oh, I condemn them. They're too far right. Maybe, but that's always my question is like, is there value to their videos or am I just going to listen and learn nothing? So even if I disagree with somebody, I'm always looking to, see if there's any value there. That's how I think. I like to listen and read, and I like edgy stuff. I like to see debates. You know what I'm saying? I like to see things they don't want you to see. That's what I'm trying to see. So I can't really relate to people in politics. Like, I don't want to hear him. I'm like, I do. And then I'll make my own decision. If I don't like it, I never have to listen to him again. But I think it's very dangerous when the left is too politically correct and the right just does it, like a little bit. I'm like, I don't know. That's not how I am. I love going to the comedy shows and just hearing people say funny stuff about everybody. Like, I'll give you an example. Danny, I don't know how to say his last name, but his Twitter and his Instagram is Danny Jokes. So if you've ever seen Ryan Long's comedy, super funny. The guy he does it with, his name is Danny. Danny happens to be Jewish. Danny's set was so funny because he was making fun of his own ethnicity. So if you were to listen to Danny on YouTube, they would be like, oh my God, Danny's anti-Semitic. But he's really just funny. He doesn't hate himself. He doesn't hate his race. He just is a funny guy who's willing to joke about it. So you get what I'm saying? I understand why people are so sensitive, but like, that's the world that I come from. And that's how I grew up. So like, I go to his show and he makes all these jokes and, Ryan talks every race, every gender, everybody's made fun of. I just like that. And then I come on Twitter and people are like, oh my God, Anomaly, that's anti-Semitic. That's homophobic. That's racist. I'm like, not everybody acts that way. Like I prefer comedians who just like say funny things. Like I don't know. I feel out of place in politics because in politics, everybody's like, whoa, yeah, don't go there. And it's like, if you're being malicious and hateful, for sure, you should be confronted. But if you're just making a statement, like I'll just talk about a speech law and people are like, dude, that's way too far. And I'm like, what? Like, you realize that there's other people that like don't think like that, right? That just want to like learn and laugh. And so I thought, seeing comedy always reminds me, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely the way. Like hearing people just say whatever they want and make it funny and interesting. Can we get a God bless hat in black? Eventually, but not right now. Thank you, Helen. I appreciate it. Someone said we push in the Overton window so right makes it and the left takes a flight. Yeah, it needs to go back the other way. That's you get it, Jorge. We talk about it here a lot, but that's the dynamic that I think a lot of people on the right are not thinking about, right? They're like, yeah, it's like the left is going too far and the right is just kind of playing along. It's happening with COVID, it's happening with all this stuff. And it's like you got to go the other way. You can't just creep along. But I think in the COVID world and the authoritarian speech censor world, everybody's trying to protect themselves, right? I think, I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to look racist. I'm right wing, but I don't want to be the guy who agrees with that person. I must have, so the left drives the narrative and the right, not everybody, a lot of people stand up, but a lot of people are just like, I'm different. And it's like, bro, they're going to come for you too. It's like with the vaccine. I've never pushed misinformation about the vaccine. I've never told anybody anything but love. But it doesn't matter how many you get. If you want to get it for your own personal thing, that's fine. I don't care. But if you think it's going to save you, if you're doing it to like be free, like you don't get how freedom works. That you don't get forced to do things to be free. It doesn't work that way. So it's like everybody's out, whether it be medically or politically, not everyone, but there are a lot of people. They're just trying to like temporarily save themselves from the authoritarians. And I get it because it's like self-preservation is important. But at the end of the day, these people are never going to stop. Someone said the right is too slow to react. Yeah, too slow, but also like for instance, when like BLM riots happen, there's BLM, George Floyd riots, and you have the RNC director coming on and just being like, yeah, just saying like generic things like I think I'm following a liberal. Like they think if that's what they truly believe, that's fine. It's nice to be nice. But I feel like they're just doing it to like look, oh, we're this. And it's like, this is why you lose. The left drives the narrative and the right just kind of like tap dances along. Not everybody. There's a lot of legends and people pushing back, but I disavow that. I don't disavow anybody. Like if they're violent and hateful and like trying to hurt people, yeah, I disavow that. But as far as like, I don't disavow speech as long as it's like non-violent and stuff. Like people having opinions that you don't like there'll be right wing people. Man, that person I disavow, and I'm like, you've never even listened to them talk. Like half these people that get disavowed all the time, you don't even know what they're saying. You just think it makes you look so not racist to say that you're against that person, and I don't play that. I don't like that. What do I think of Brandon Tatum? I've met Brandon. I like Brandon. I'm not going to lie. I haven't been following all his videos, so I can't specifically speak of like what he's been talking about. But I think Brandon's a super nice guy. And I think that he says what he believes, regardless of what people think. I think, even when he will say stuff that he knows will be unpopular on the right wing, I don't think he minces his words when it comes to like what he thinks about court cases and stuff. But I can't say I know what he's really said in the last year. I follow him on Instagram. I like some of the posts sometimes, but I don't know what he's been talking about as far as his like YouTube channel. But I think uh from what I've heard and I've met him, he's a nice guy. Someone said Owen's been disavowed into near oblivion, but the dude drops a lot of wisdom and insight. Yeah, that's a perfect example. People like to just write people off, and that's not right. Someone said I took a photo with him. Someone said, you know who I really like? Terrence K. Who's Terrence K? That's not Terrence Williams, right? Is Terrence K someone else? I'm not even sure who that is. When am I going to do Joe Rogan? I don't know. Maybe never, but when the time is right, hopefully people will want to talk to me. But I don't know if you guys know Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis was the guy who was kicked off of SNL before he got on. He got invited to or he got hired for SNL, and then they found a racist Asian joke and they kicked him off. His podcast is with Matthew McCusker, and they had my God Bless hat sitting on their podcast. So they have one of the bigger podcasts out there, I think, or one that's catching on, and they were rocking the God Bless hat. So that was pretty cool. Zangari said Anomaly is a smooth brainer. Zangari, what thing do you not agree with me on? I'll have a mini debate with you. Which one of my takes do you think is smooth brain? I'm not angry. I'm just interested. I'll wait. Someone said, Christian black magic is non-scientific mumbo jumbo, folks. So I'm a smooth brainer because you think Christian black magic is non-scientific mumbo jumbo. I've never talked about black magic. I'm not into black magic. I'm certainly not interested in Christian black magic. So my brother, I have no idea what you're talking about because I don't promote Christian black magic, but whatever you want to think is fine. Someone said my Frog Tea site is selling merch with my name. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they just copied stuff. Whatever. Someone said he's trolling. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. What's going on with South Africa? We're going back into lockdown. I think a lot of the world, they're like this. I hate to sound like a broken record, but this is not going to end. You can read, like, these people are publishing documents and books and explaining what they think. This is never going to end until enough people in the world understand what's going on. I don't know. I feel like people still don't get it. Enough people don't get it. So I don't know what's going on in South Africa, but yeah, if a majority of the population doesn't get what's going on, they're just going to keep doing it. Oh, it says Dream Rare with Anomaly on it. Really? On Frog Tea? Let me look that up. They're selling a Dream Rare Anomaly shirt. That's pretty shitty. What is My Frog Tea? What is that? My Frog Tea? Anomaly Dream Rare. I mean, if they want to scam, are they really? What is this? Oh yeah, they're straight up stealing my shit. X Frog clothing. They're totally just copying my stuff. Yeah. What the hell? Okay. Thank you for letting me know. I'll reach out to that website who's like stealing my shit. But the place to buy it is dreamrare.com. The good news is I guess I'm so popular that people are stealing my designs and stealing my name. The bad news is that they're doing that, but I guess that's a compliment. It must be popular enough to want to copy. So whatever. What microphone do I use for singing? Asked Carl. I use this blue microphone. So I use the blue mic. Honestly, it's not the greatest mic. I'm sure there's more expensive ones that are better, but I just use this one right here. It's a blue microphone. I have a few of them, and it's easy. It's USB. And nowadays, this is what I'll say. When I was younger, I was so worried about mixing everything, and it matters. Mixing and mastering matters. But these microphones, back in the day, if you had a microphone at a studio, it's here, right? And the next best thing you could do from home is here. Now the difference is like, there are better microphones, but the difference is not that big. So I have songs with millions of streams that I just recorded on my blue microphone. Just make sure you get somebody good to mix it and master it, and try to make sure there's no echo and it's in a sound space and you have like sound blockers and stuff. Someone said, Anomaly, you should go on Tim Pool's In Real Life cast. Yeah, I think I would like that. I think I'm down. I just got to figure out when we can connect. But, I think Tim's having a great year, and he's definitely hard worker, and he's crushing it, man. The podcast, his YouTube channels, it's been great watching him. Just keep it moving. Someone said, "Congratulations on getting banned from TikTok. It means you're doing something right." I don't know about that, but I guess so. Thank you. Tim Tool would jab me. Are you saying Tim Pool would force vaccinate me? I don't think that's true, but am I a fan of old school hip hop like A Tribe Called Quest? Yeah, for sure. Electric Relaxation is always a track that ends up on a playlist. Yeah, Tribe is fire. I don't think Tim would jab me. I think that's a lie. But it's kind of funny. All right, I'm going to stay for like 10 or 15 more minutes and I'm going to roll out. Let's see. Someone said Lotus Eaters podcast. I've never heard of that, but that sounds crazy. I'm going to read some star comments. I apologize. I don't do this enough. Donna said, I got my video deleted and week ban posting on TikTok for reposting your video on CNN backpedaling. Kyle, sorry about that, Donna. Maybe that was the video. Kenneth, thank you. Robin D. Dawn, God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Michael, K, Jessica, Tara. Kristen said, keep up the great work. Banning means you're over target. Thank you, Kristen. Angie, thank you. Appreciate y'all. Get to the stars. Someone said 10 or 15 minutes to anomalies like an hour. You're not wrong. Sometimes it is. Zangari said this is a Christian Taliban recruitment channel, folks. All right, bro. You're exaggerating. You're like anomalies promoting Christian black magic Taliban. It's like, bro, no one thinks that. I don't think I've ever even told anybody to be a Christian. I don't think that's even happened one time. Not only am I not recruiting people, I don't think I've ever once pushed it. People have asked what I think or who I am, but I don't think I've ever told anyone what religion to be ever, which is why people listen. It's not a sermon channel. I'm not a pastor. So you're having a combo with yourself, my man. God bless you though. Melanie said, I love your long videos. I listen to them at the gym. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate it. All right, we'll hang out for a few more, but if you guys have any questions or cool comments, I'll read them aloud. Any question, we'll go. Someone said there's no such thing as Christian black magic. Yeah, I don't know what this guy's talking about. It doesn't matter. Did I see the NPR hit piece on the white-tailed deer? No. Someone said, I bet Tim Pool showers with his hat on. That's hilarious. GC said, hi, I tweeted Tim Pool. Would love to see you. I'm moving to OC from LA. Well, good luck. You're going to probably enjoy it. Doc said, have I heard of the Noahide law? I believe there are multiple laws. Yeah, I've heard of it. Did I see the Glenn Beck documentary? No, I haven't. Hi from Malawi. Love your show. Nikki, thank you. God bless you and God bless Malawi. Someone said TikTok it's from China. Why would you want China in your life? Well, I believe it has an American sect now. Like Trump had some sort of thing where he put it in the hands of some American who probably hates us more than China. But TikTok's one of the most popular apps in the world. Most people's kids are on it, especially like 18 to 24 demographic is enormous. So I just want to get the message out there. It wasn't my number one thing, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was pretty dope of an app. And, here's what I would say. Like China is not your friend, but I agree that the American liberal, like the Facebook, YouTube, they might censor less, which is nice, but they don't like you any more than China does. So I don't, it's like, I won't use TikTok, but I'll use YouTube. It's like YouTube hates you probably more than TikTok does, but TikTok censors more than YouTube, so it is what it is. Do I think Orange County will remain good in California? I hope so. I think it's got a good community in certain areas. Not every part of Orange County is nice, just like no, there's some bad parts for sure. But yeah, I think there's good community. From what I've seen, there's good community, families, people who like it. I think it'll be better longer than most parts of California, but only time will tell. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It definitely sucks that the governor sucks so much. That's not ideal. Someone said it's the most anti-God app. I don't know that that's true. Like for me, when I was on TikTok, the algorithm knows what you like. So I was getting more Christian content on TikTok than I was on Instagram or Twitter. Like it had nailed me. I was getting rappers that I wanted to hear, like upcoming rappers. I was getting people rapping about God, people promoting, it depends what algorithm you're in, but there's a lot of people on TikTok that are anti-God. There's a lot of people on YouTube that are anti-God. I don't know that TikTok's the most anti-God app. I would say there were a lot of people in my feed that were, had similar views to me. So it depends what you get. How do I stay so calm? I don't know that I'm always so calm, but I try to be. I think I lose my cool sometimes, but I don't know. I try to keep my life simple. I try not to stress out too much. I try to keep it, keep it dialed in on what I'm doing and not allow too much exterior stuff on. So I don't know. I'm grateful. I'm appreciative. And I think, I don't know. Anomaly, you were born to be a Power Ranger, someone said. Thank you, bro. I used to think I was the Red Ranger. So I agree. What can I say about how South Florida is handling the pandemic? I can't say I'm really familiar with South Florida directly, but I think DeSantis is definitely a standout, governor, no question. My take on Congress, it's pretty whack, honestly. I don't know. I think there's two things that are going on in Congress. One, they're operating off our tax dollars, but also, I don't know. A lot of them are probably getting lobbied, and to me, they're very childish. Like, I'm not really a Congress fan. I saw a video the other day of Lauren Boebert, who I've always liked, but she was trying to make an Ilhan Omar joke. Politic correct wise, I don't care what people say, but I thought it was pretty corny. She was like, "Oh, I was getting on a, elevator," and she was like, and there was a police running on. It was me and Ilhan Omar, and I was like, "Oh, don't worry, she doesn't have a backpack." Like she tried to make a Muslim with a bomb joke, and it's like I feel like they're a bunch of like high schoolers, like AOC, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene. They act like they're in high school. Like to me, these people care more about, and I like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I like Lauren kind of, but they act like they're more about themselves, I think, than they are about our country. Like that's going to raise millions of dollars for Democrats. That's going to be so good for their recruiting. That doesn't help the Republican Party. That doesn't help America. That's not a law that's being passed. That's just her being like a snarky high school student because she thinks she's funny around Republicans, and it hurts the party and it makes us look stupid. And that's just who these people are. They're like, oh, well, if I could, and then that same party will then, back up speech laws and people won't even realize. It's just a big corny circus to me. So, on both sides, I think they both act like spoiled, bratty kids. And to be quite fair, I'm embarrassed of most people in Congress. They act like children. It's pathetic. So I'm all for freedom of speech, but that was not even a funny joke, and it was more like a let me just pretend to be edgy to get more attention, and let me allow them, and that's going to be used to recruit millions of people to the Democratic Party. So it's just there's such goofballs in there, like the ones that raise to the top. Someone said that's why the country is divided. They're not setting an example for their constituents. Yeah, for sure. And also, here's why, someone said you don't have to be triggered. I'm not triggered. I don't think it's funny. But also, here's what I'll say. These people, a lot of these Republicans, they have passed, I've explained this multiple times, people don't want to hear it. They support speech laws. They pass speech laws, they pass executive order bills that prevent you from saying certain things. The Republicans are also guilty of infringing on the First Amendment. People don't think it because they don't talk about it. And right-wing meme pages don't want to post it because they only post hoorah, let's go, Brandon. So people like Lauren Boebert will say that. Democrats will raise millions of dollars off it. They'll use it to recruit more Democrats. People look at her and say, that's exactly why I hate Republicans. That's exactly why I hate conservatives. That's exactly why I'm a liberal. So it doesn't help us at all. And then these same Republicans who act so cool and so woke will side with donors and side with special interest groups who want to infringe on our First Amendment. And nobody will know about it. And it's just like, that's the big distraction. Like, she says this, they say this, they fight like they're in high school. And then they go off and pass crazy laws. They go off and pass crazy laws. It's like a big Roman theater. So, it's all just a show. Someone said, say her name. I don't even know who you're talking about. Someone said, not a good joke. Well, not only was it not funny, but here's the thing. It's not like, it's just corny to me. It's like, you have the freedom to say it, but it's like, it's a self-righteous sort of thing. That's what a lot of these people want to do. They want more donor money. They want more attention. They want, to be the high school girl. So it's like, haha, how many people are really serving the American people? How many people are really doing it? That's just my perspective though. So I heard that and I was like, man, it's similar to the Capitol thing. It's like, what was who did the Capitol thing benefit? It benefited Democrats. It benefited Joe Biden. It benefited the FBI, who's going after, conservatives. So it's like, yeah, you can do that, but is that helping me or anyone? No, it's hurting. It's hurting us. It's hurting our party. It's hurting our movement. It's hurting our freedoms. It's hurting our ability to, organize. So that's the thing. You have the freedom to say it, but who does it serve? Her, maybe her donations, but I would say her comment helped the Democrats more than it helped us. It doesn't really help us. So, I'm all for saying something edgy or funny, but I don't think these people are really thinking far ahead. But whatever, it's on them. Also, to be honest, I think in America, like, a lot of Muslims vote for Democrats, and I think Islam, if you really study actual Islam, not this watered down version, like, no offense, but a lot of Muslims in America, they follow this watered down version of the Quran in the same way a lot of Americans follow like a watered down version of the Bible. Because it's hard to follow these texts like to the core, especially the Quran. You got to be very dedicated to God, to Allah, and to be a Christian. And if you want to really follow, it's tough to do. So everybody just kind of does their thing and they're like, yeah, whatever, I'll just take a little part of it. And all I'm saying is, like, most real Muslims that like actually follow the Quran, they're usually conservative. Like, if you follow, real Sharia law countries, they have a more conservative ideology than Christians. Like, it's more strict, it's more disciplined. They're not allowing like, all of this weirdo stuff to go on. So I don't think it's a huge demographic or anything, but most Muslims in America are liberal for whatever reason. I don't know. They got watered down. And if you really want to get a compelling message to a different demographic, I don't think the way to do it is to say, haha, I think you're a terrorist. Like, I mean, like, I would imagine that would be equivalent to like Ilhan Omar saying, haha, like, this white guy's a school shooter. Like, she has the freedom to say that. I'm not going to stop her joke, but if Ilhan Omar were to say that about a white person being a school shooter, Lauren Boebert shooting up a school, everybody on the right wing would be mad. And now everybody on the left wing's mad. It's like high school. You can do it, but like, oh, she's doing it to do what they're doing. Like, this isn't high school. Like, oh, you said something mean, I'm going to say something mean. Just do something productive. So it's this whole like hissy fit going on. And I agree with her freedom to say it, but I think it only helps Ilhan Omar. It only makes her a bigger victim. And if you really want to like reach out to left wingers and Democrats and Muslims, that's not the way to do it. But I don't think certain people want to reach out to people. So I don't know. I have thousands of Muslims following me. Why? Because I'm not a scumbag. I don't say, oh, you're bombing everybody. That's a scumbag thing to do. Like, Lauren Boebert's kind of a scumbag for that. It's like, That's corny. Like Ilhan Omar is a lot of things. Suicide bomber, not one of them. So, it's like, haha, oh yeah, I'm exactly the ignorant Republican you thought I was. Oh yeah, that's really good for getting people support. There's actually a lot of base Muslims, and there's a lot of great people in this country who are closer to God than, a lot of other liberals who have no sort of discipline at all. So I think that stuff is kind of played out. But, if that's how she wants to like get clout, that's on her. I just don't think it's terrible optics, but also just not a nice thing to do. Like, I don't think it's like a nice thing to say, but whatever. Yeah, it's kind of low bar. It would be equivalent of someone on the left saying all white people are school shooters, or like that type of joke. Like, you could say that, but I don't look at that like, haha, that's so funny. I'm just like, that's like a low fruit, like corny, played out thing to say. But it's on her. Someone said they do say that. I know, but here's my thing. This is like a high school mentality. And I feel like this is what people do in politics. They say, well, she did it, so I'm going to do it. Like, if she runs in front of a bus, are you going to run in front of a bus? Like, these are grown women with a family. Like, oh, well, they did it, so I'm going to do it. Like, if they do something good and righteous, then do it. But if they do something trashy and lowbrow and you do it just to be them, to me, it's just corny. Like, there's a lot of people who do a lot of things. Like, I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be like the left. And I want to look better than them, And if they get really trashy and we get really, I don't even have to say classy, but if we get really honest, then people will gravitate towards us. That's why we're building a bigger audience, because we are the truth. We are better. We are nicer. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, like, we are building something that's greater. We wouldn't be building something that's greater if we just copied what people we hate are doing. Well, they did something, so I'm going to do it. Like, what are we, 5 years old? Like, Susie licked the lollipop. Now I want to lick the lollipop. Like, someone said an eye for an eye, but it's not doing anything. If they pass a law. Saying do something, but this is what right wingers do. They act all tough. They impress the donors, and then the donors give them money, and then they infringe on the First Amendment, and then they infringe on the Second Amendment, and then they print trillions of dollars like a socialist, and then they turn around and say, we're fighting socialism. So it's like, you're not going to impress me with a trashy joke. Impress me with like your job. Do something, But it's what people want, though. Someone that I do like is Marjorie Taylor Greene, but like, she'll pass a bill that says we're going to impeach Joe Biden. No, you're not. You're passing that to raise money. That this bill's not going to pass. She knows how Washington works. But if you say, I'm introducing legislation to impeach Joe Biden, for what? I mean, he's a garbage president, but you're not going to, with 100% certainty that is never going to pass, because you don't have the numbers and it's not going to work. But if you say you're going to do it, guess what happens? A bunch of Republicans will donate money to you because they think it's funny or interesting. I get it. I'm not mad at it. It's definitely good advertising, but call me crazy. I actually want something to be done. I want them to actually do something, not just put on like a high school drama, oh, the Squad versus the new girls in town. Like, what is this, Mean Girls? We're watching like a Lindsay Lohan thing. Like, oh man, the Squad. Oh, I'm fighting the Muslim Squad with the girls night out. Donate to me. I'm going to fake, impeach Joe Biden. And everyone's like, I'm like, dude, these girls are acting like children, I like good jokes and I like people who say funny stuff, but it's like, to me, it's just kind of corny, but whatever. That's only my opinion. They have the freedom to say it. I just think it's corny. And here's my thing too, is like, you got to watch some people's actions. Like I told people 2 years ago, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I do want to get this. When they were going at Ilhan Omar a year ago, Ilhan Omar, who I disagree with on, I would say me and Ilhan Omar probably disagree. We disagree on like 99% of politics. Like, I don't agree with her on anything. I don't like her. I think she's annoying. But here's what I'll say. She was talking about Netanyahu and she said it's all about the Benjamins. And she was saying it's all about money, which that's kind of how the world works, but we can pretend like it's not, whatever. So she's saying all this stuff. She's saying like, has old tweets about Israel. And Republicans say, oh my God, she's an anti-Semite. And all of these woke, cool, mean girls and all of these woke, cool Republicans fighting the rhinos, they all say, yeah, Ilhan Omar's an anti-Semite. And then they pass this little resolution to shut her up. And then they pass a speech bill and an executive order to shut her up and to shut up everybody. So it's like, oh yeah, Ilhan Omar's a meanie. So now I'm going to infringe on the First Amendment. This is why Republicans lose. Democrats take away your First Amendment. Oh, well, they did it, so now let's do it. You're going to take away the First Amendment because Democrats took away the First Amendment? Yeah, we're getting it even. That's not how you get even. You get even when you stop infringing on the First Amendment and you roll back the infringements on the First Amendment. You don't get it back. It's like, oh, we have to lock down in order to get the vaccine back. Like, you don't get your freedom back by giving it away. So this is why I hate this little mean girl stuff, because it's all for show. But when push comes to shove, some of them support red flag laws. Some of them support First Amendment speech legislation because they're fighting the anti-Semites. You're not going to fight hateful people with speech legislation. You're only going to cut the tongue out of 1,000 more people. Well, they cut our tongues out, so we're going to cut their tongues out. This is not libertarian or conservative. This is what Republicans do. That's why I sound like a foreign object to certain people, because nobody wants to report on certain things. Like when it comes to, say, Donald Trump, like people are like, yo, he doesn't need other people's money. He doesn't need the money. That's why he was so important. I agree. I like Trump because he's a billionaire, right? He doesn't need everyone else's money, so he's more free. And to be clear, I still think Donald Trump was more free than any president I've ever seen in my lifetime. But if he doesn't need people's money, why did Donald Trump take $1 million from Pfizer? Why did he take $1 million from Pfizer from his inauguration if he doesn't need their money? $1 million, he needs that. Well, he took it, and then he put a pharmacy lobbyist as the head of human health services. So Donald Trump sold everybody on, I don't need people's money, and then he took people's money. But the reason nobody knows about this is because no other conservative pages will report that except for me. And that's like the speech laws. No Republicans will report when right-wingers infringe on your First Amendment because it's not popular. But I do. And then I get called a mean guy. And then people are like, you're blaming him for everything. No, I'm just being honest. Like, if you don't need people's money, why are you taking money from Big Pharma and rewarding them with high-level jobs? That's what the Republicans are doing. They've sold people on this idea that they're the new ones and they're fighting the old rhinos, but they're really better. I think they are better, but they're not who people think they are. It's similar to like left-wingers where someone said, show the proof. Just Google it or DuckDuckGo it. Just Google Trump Pfizer inauguration. You'll find 15 articles about it. It's all documented. So I know you don't want to believe that, but you can look it up yourself. Don't believe me. Check it out. But it's like left-wing progressives. They sell we're better than Nancy Pelosi. No, they're not. Like, is AOC better than Nancy Pelosi? Oh yeah, she's real different, but they're shitty too. I think the new right-wingers are better than the old ones, but they're not who people think they are. They sell you on the brand. Their brand is, we don't need people's money, we're free. But then they kind of do similar stuff and just like no one notices. So that's all I'm saying. That's why I don't like the little mean girls fights, because it's a distraction from the legislation and the bills that they're supporting. Not always, but it's like, I don't care about a little fight. I want to see what you're doing. Someone said Trump earned more from drug manufacturers than Biden. Actually, I think that's not true. I think Biden got more money from drug manufacturers, but Trump still did get money. Biden got, I think, like 8 million in 2020 from drug manufacturers. Trump got 2.5 million. So Biden is a way bigger sellout. But here's the point that I'm trying to tell people. It's not like Biden's this huge sellout. He is, but it's not Biden's this huge sellout and Donald Trump doesn't take money from any corporations because he doesn't need their money. Donald Trump's taking money too. He's just not taking as much. That's why Biden's a bigger sellout than Trump. I believe he takes more money, to be clear. But everybody thinks Trump never did that. He did do that. So it is what it is, but it's like, that's kind of how they get you. It's like, it must be this because it's this, or I don't like Ilhan Omar, but they don't need to pass more speech laws. Like I've explained this 20 times, but people, it's like a foreign concept to certain people. Unfortunately, not everybody, but some people don't take it that well. But I don't care. I think what I'm saying is aging well. I still get harassed on a daily basis or weekly basis because I explained in 2020, I had a debate and I tried to explain to people, yes, Biden's responsible for oil and gas prices. Biden's responsible for a lot of these supply chain issues. But if you want to be clear, is Biden responsible for inflation? Well, yeah, he's the president, so he deserves, some blame for a little bit of everything. But similar to how like Trump couldn't figure out Obamacare, even though he tried to do some stuff, but it was like Obamacare was such a mess, right? It was such a mess that you didn't blame Donald Trump for Obamacare. You're like, well, Trump's doing his best, but Obamacare is a mess. Bro, 2020 was a mess. Donald Trump left a mess. He helped cause inflation. That's not even debatable. But people are like, Biden's 100% responsible. It's like, dude, if Trump was president and he was in office, he would not have been able to stop inflation. I believe he would have quelled it a little bit better than Biden, but there's no way you can print as much money as we printed in 2020 and have no inflation. It's not possible. That's not how the monetary system works. When you print 40% of all the money ever printed, or you print $9 trillion, or whatever it is, it's like more money was printed in 2020 than any other point in human history ever. That was part of the equation. I'm not saying all of it. I say that people lose their minds. They're like, Anomaly thinks that Trump did what? And I'm like, I'm not blaming it all on him. I'm just saying you can't print more money than ever printed in human history and have it have zero impact. It's going to be part of the equation. Someone said Rand Paul talked about this years ago, and Rand Paul was right because, over time, this is like a slippery slope, and then you give it a death blow, and then you're going down the roller coaster. But it was a building process over 20, 30, 40 years. And then 2020 was the death blow. And then he passed the baton to Biden, and Biden's just punching it in the face while it's laying in the ground. So is Biden good? No. Is he not to blame? No. But this idea, and is he to blame for oil? He is. But there's literally YouTube accounts that are brainwashing people into thinking that 2020 had no impact on inflation, only 2021. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I say it's dumb, and people are like, that's so mean. I'm like, that's really dumb. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry that I can't think of a more exquisite word to use than dumb, but this is like the games that people play, and they act like I'm crazy. I'm like, bro, I would have thought this if Trump wasn't president. Like, you can't print that. Someone said you do a funny ass Grandpa Moderna. I'll do a Grandpa Moderna impression if you want, but then people are like, Anomaly talks about Trump too much. So if you want a Grandpa Moderna impression, I'm not gonna leave you hanging. But if people don't want it, I'm not gonna do it, because then people are like, he only talks about Trump. Someone said Biden's the Loch Ness Monster of the swamp. You could say that. I like the Loch Ness Monster better, though. I've always liked the Loch Ness Monster. I don't like Biden, so it's a good one. But we like Nessie over here. Do it yet? I haven't seen it. We'll think about it. Please. I gotta think of it because I'm not really good at impressions, but all right, I'll do my Maria Bartiromo into Donald Trump. I'll try it. Maria Bartiromo. Hey, Donald Trump, what do you think about mandates? Donald Trump, what do you think about the mandates and the mask mandates and the booster shot? What do you think, Trump? Well, Maria, okay, I did the vaccine, okay? I saved 100 million lives from the Spanish flu, okay? I saved a billion lives, okay, from the flu. It would have been 1915 all over again, okay? Johnson & Johnson, great American company, okay? Moderna, great company, okay? Fauci, he said, call me Tony, okay? I said, Tony, okay? We actually got along quite well, okay? 5 minutes later. I did it, and if I was president, okay, the protests wouldn't even exist, okay? There'd be no protests because everybody trusted me. It was rocking. I had that vaccine rolling, okay? And then Joe Biden got in. All of a sudden, everybody wants to protest, okay? But you can have your freedoms or whatever. See, Anomaly, he said freedoms or whatever. He cares about you. At the end of his 7-minute, big pharma sales pitch when nobody asked for a sales pitch. He said the word freedom. So Trump does care. He's against the mandates. He only spends 50 times as much time selling it than he does actually standing up for mandates. And he keeps lying, saying he saved the world from the Spanish flu. And of course, he doesn't acknowledge the protests around the world because he's selling the thing and thinks that it wouldn't have existed if he was. But he cares about me. He sent an email on Thanksgiving. I mean, come on. He sent a Save America Super PAC email where he's raising hundreds of millions of dollars to betray me again. This reminds me of Bernie Sanders all over again. He's like, the 1% is very corrupt. Okay? The 1% is very corrupt. And even though I backed Hillary Clinton last time, okay? If you give me $250 million to lose again, I will lose again. Okay? Oh my God, Bernie Sanders is going to save me from the establishment. He just betrayed you. Why are you still giving this guy money? He's like, because the 1% is really bad, and I need $250 million to lose and get behind Joe Biden, okay? It's going to work this time. We just got to give Bernie Sanders all our money. It's like, no, stop giving Bernie Sanders your money. People just keep funneling money to like Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump. Apparently, Lynn Wood is going off on like Sidney Powell and Michael Flynn. I haven't fully read it. My guy Peter Duke kind of sent me a message and showed me, but it's like you're giving these people all this money and they're like, they're wasting it. They're doing this, they're doing that. Donald Trump raised, I think, like $250 million or something for election fraud. Does anybody know where that money is? I don't think anybody even cares. Like, let's just keep giving these people more money. If we give Bernie Sanders $250 million, he'll slap us in the face again. But if we give Donald Trump $1 billion, for sure he'll fight the deep state this time. It's like maybe, but maybe we should stop just funneling our money to these people. But maybe not. Maybe they need our money. I don't know. Maybe we got to fight the Democrats or something. The Bernie impression is pretty good. The 1% is very corrupt, okay? The only way to beat the 1% is to give government all your money and power. No more competition. We're going to do communism, democratic socialism. I'm sorry. I am a full-blown democratic socialist. It's different than socialism. It's just you put Democrat in front of it. My uncle was not Karl Marx, okay? My uncle was Kevin Marx, okay? A totally different book. It was called The Democratic Socialist Manifesto. Now give me, I'm once again asking for your donation. The 1%. I'm working on it. The new variants will keep boosting? Yeah. Variant. You're going to go outside and they're going to be like, mask on, new variant. Variant 11,000. Like, I can't believe people don't get it yet. It's wild to me, but I see that I get it, you get it, we get it. But like generally, I see people that used to get it that don't get it anymore. And I'm just like, what is it going to take for you to realize what they're doing? I don't get if they could make it any more obvious. Should I even read this comment or no? Jimmy said, so if Trump didn't print the money to give all Americans while they locked us down, he would have been ridiculed for not helping Americans. It's like, dude, this is like the classic, like, if Donald Trump didn't do it, they would have called him names. Bro, all they do is call you names. They're never going to not. It's not like Donald Trump gave everyone money and like CNN was like, hey, we were wrong about this Trump guy. He really did, once he implemented socialism for us, he's really our guy. They're never going to do that. It's like, this is like the worst excuse. I don't want to keep having the same debates, but it's like, breaking news. Donald Trump finally did what we said he's going to do. We were wrong. Orange Man's really good. Now Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Trevor Noah, and Stephen Colbert are going to go on and tell you how good, Donald Trump, they're never going to give you credit. At what point do you realize that? All Republicans do is lose it. But if we didn't do what they said to do, if we didn't lock the country down and do socialism and communism, they would have called us mean names. They're always like, at what point did they ever give Donald Trump credit for everything? He has to do the vaccines or else they're going to say he didn't do it. They still don't give him credit. You think he's ever going to get credit? All they do is lie. All they do is subvert. All they do is take credit for things he did and give blame to him for the good things he did. That's all they do. So either you do the right thing because you believe in it and go forward with it, or you mess up and do the wrong thing. There is no, he purposely did the wrong thing to get credit from the people who don't want to give him credit. This is why, like, when people say that to me, I'm like, oh yeah, this is why Republicans blow it all the time, because they want to blow it. They're like, yeah, there's nothing like pleasing the left. You think that they're ever going to write a nice article about me, no matter what I say? Oh, Anomaly, NPR, he's really great. Now, they don't care. They hate you. They don't like Donald Trump. They've never given him credit. They never will. Okay. There is no, he's going to compromise and they're going to compromise with him. They don't compromise. Republicans need to learn this. I'm not saying to not be nice or whatever, but like, that's the worst theory ever. Actually, that's the second worst theory. The worst theory is he had to do the lockdown and the vaccine or else we're never going to be free. And I'm like, you don't understand how freedom works. Like, you don't give up your freedom, give $18 billion to big pharma, print trillions of dollars to get your freedom back. That's like signing it. Like, I don't even have a good analogy, but it's like, that's how you lose your freedom. Once you give that away, you don't give up the First Amendment to get it back. You don't give up, you don't infringe on the Second Amendment to get it back in 10 years. That's not how any of this works. But for some reason, somebody convinced you that that's how it works. So every time the Republican Party does it, people like me come out and say, hey, what if we like didn't keep losing and giving up ground? And then people are like, no, it's good to do that because we're going to do this later. They've like, that's not how it works. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's not how it works. Someone said blaming Trump for anything is only a cry for help. I'm not even blaming him. People don't listen to what I'm saying. I say one thing. I say, hey, this, and this is responsible for inflation. Oh my God, no, it's all this. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Okay, you don't want to hear it. I just say one thing. I'm talking about how to, like, the left is not going to give you credit. Take him away. They're not going to give you credit for doing what they want. So either you got to do it because it's the right thing, or do it because you believe in it, or don't do it. You don't want to justify doing things that are wrong because you think CNN's going to give you credit or something. This isn't blaming Trump. This is the philosophy that Republicans don't get, but people don't want to hear it. So they just want to keep like following this like arcade game or something. They're like, no, this is great and perfect. And we're doing it to please people that don't like us. Like, what? Someone said avoiding the question is telling. Bro, there's over 1,000 people here between the two live streams. It's not like I see every question all the time. Someone said there's no hope for those in the left and right cult. Well, not everybody's in it, but it's like, my goodness, dude. Do the Cartman impression. All my impressions are terrible, so I can't do anything. Maybe I could use an example. We'll move on, but maybe I could use an example with someone else so you can get it without feeling offended. Like, it's so weird. I say things and people like, oh, you just Trump. And I'm like, okay, let's baby it so people can get it. It's like, imagine if Ron DeSantis right now, they will not give Ron DeSantis credit. It doesn't matter what he does. He could force masks on the whole state and they would still say he's a Nazi or something. So Ron DeSantis, at this point in time, I'm not saying he hasn't caved on anything, but when it comes to the COVID stuff, for the most part, Ron DeSantis doesn't give a shit what the media says. He's not a baby and says, I want them to like me. He understands that the media doesn't like him and they're not honest. So Ron DeSantis just does what he thinks right. He doesn't care what they call him. They're calling him Death Santis, and Stephen King, that psychopath, is calling him names. Ron DeSantis doesn't seem to care. Why? Because he's not a moron. He understands he wants to do what he thinks is right, regardless of what people think, because they're never going to give him credit. With Trump, people are saying for him, oh, if he does this, if he doesn't do this, they're going to say something mean. They're never going to give Trump credit, and they're never going to give Ron DeSantis credit. So you might as well just do what you think is right, whether it goes left wing or right wing. Who cares what they say? If you think it's right and it's a left wing thing, do it. If you think it's right and it's a right wing thing, do it. They're not going to give you credit, I promise you. So Ron DeSantis seems to get it. Trump, I guess, didn't or something, or people think that he didn't. I'm not here to argue or make people feel bad about it. I'm just saying this is like a philosophy of why the right loses. I'm not saying that you could be nice and do stuff, but politically and policy-wise, do what you think is right. They are not going to give you credit. Donald Trump did prison reform. Prison reform is a left-wing thing for the most part. And guess what? They didn't give him credit. Who gave him credit? I gave him credit. Tim Pool gave him credit. The Democrats don't give him credit. They don't care what he does. He could do Bernie Sanders' policy and they'll still call him a psycho. So don't get in the habit of thinking that it's good to do the wrong thing because the Democrats are going to give you credit. They're not. What do I think about a DeSantis and Tulsi ticket? I would prefer it over Trump, but my thing with them too is like just keep a keen eye. I think it's very dangerous that people are obsessing over politicians too much. So I would enjoy that ticket, but I don't fully trust either of them. So I would keep a keen eye and be grateful that they're better than Trump. But here's what I want to say to people, and maybe this will hurt people's feelings, but I don't think so. There's certain professions where they do certain things. A car salesman is not your friend, okay? He's selling you the car. You might like the guy, but his job is to sell you the car. You know that, right? The car salesman's not your best friend. He's trying to make a sale because he gets a percentage of it. A politician is somebody, look up the definition of what politician means. It's somebody that's used to lying, used to being skeezy. They're like a middleman. Billionaires come to them, corporations come to them, lobbyists come to them, and they're the middleman. They take the money, they work with people, they finesse it, and then they go out on stage and they're the big puppet who just makes people feel like they're on their side. That's what politics has been before Trump, before Obama. That's just what it is. I'm not saying it's Trump's fault. I'm not even saying it's Obama's fault. That's what politics has been for a long, long time. I don't understand. The greatest thing that Trump did was showed people that that's what politics is. That's the greatest thing he did. He said, hey, that's what politics is. The worst thing that Donald Trump did was convince people that he wasn't a part of the show, because it turns out he was taking lobbyist money. He was working with big pharma. He did all these things. He took big donor money from people that are billionaires, and he started caving on things that weren't like him, just like other politicians. So it's like hurts people's feelings so bad. If I was a car salesman, I don't care how much you like my personality. I'm there to sell cars. If I turn out to be a politician, my job is not to be your best friend if I'm your politician. My job is to serve the people. So if I stop serving the people, that's what they do. They're like car salesmen. They just know how to finesse it. So people just love them so much and don't care about what they're doing. That's their whole job. Obama and his Secretary of State and his military was doing some things that were really messed up overseas, but he sold it because that's his job. He's the big guy that sells what they're doing. That's who Donald Trump is. He might be better, but he's still that's his job. So people get so emotional over Trump. That's why I don't want him to win in 2024. At least with anyone else, everyone will realize that they're a puppet and that's their role. With Donald Trump, people think he's your best friend. He's not. And I'm not even knocking him. That's not his job. He's doing a job, but you think he's not doing it. So he's the most dangerous candidate. I would much rather DeSantis or anybody else win so people could actually act normal again. It's like the right wing went crazy over Trump. The left wing went crazy over Trump. Not everybody, but that's what politics is. It's not his fault. He didn't invent it. He's not the worst one. I still think he's probably the best one. You know what I'm saying? He probably did the most good before he did a lot of bad than anybody. But I don't understand why people are like, it's so tough to talk. I'm like, dude, we can't act like this. We're going to lose everything. If people think that the car salesman is their best friend, they're not your best friend. They might have a lot of swag, but they're selling their policies, and their policies are not always good. It's your job to say no, not, you know what I'm saying? Not like think everything that their shit doesn't stink. That's not how it works. Come on, folks. Someone said they get away with what you let them get away with. 1,000%, Zach. If the ticket was Trump and Biden again, how would I vote? Unfortunately, I would have to vote for Trump because I think out of those two, the pros would be oil. The pros would be, some judges and stuff and basic stuff. But honestly, I don't think the difference is as big as people think. But yeah, I would vote for Trump over Biden. But I would prefer somebody younger and more honest and not a sleazy vaccine salesman. But if it got down to Trump and Biden, unfortunately, I think there's value to Trump, but minuscule. Someone said the dollar is a Ponzi scheme. We need to get a crypto constitution or remove ourselves from evil politicians using our currency to commit. We'll see. A lot of people have a lot of theories on crypto. Someone said he's not a villain. I didn't say he was. I don't know if you were talking to someone else, but I'm not going to label him as a hero or a villain. I'm just saying I don't want him. But if it was him or Biden, I think his oil policies are better. That alone, like him versus Biden, it's just like, yeah, clearly Trump is slightly better. I'm going to read this. I don't have to, but I don't mind. Amy's typing in all caps. She said, "Oh, Anomaly, you have a lot to learn about the deep state, but you won't because you're a controlled opposition. I heard it before. Now you are confirmed." What confirmed it, Amy? Let me know. The fact that I said something that you disagree with, so now you're screaming in all caps that I'm controlled opposition. I'll have a truthful moment with you, Amy, okay? And hopefully this hits home to your spirit and your soul. I know myself. You don't know me. You follow me. You're angry at me because I said something you disagree with. I know me. I know what I do. I know how free I am and independent and how I got here. And you know nothing about me. And you are sitting here with ultimate confidence saying something that I know 100% is not true. And you have no idea. So you're willing to lie to me. You, Amy, should look in your own heart and soul and wonder why you're so confident believing a lie and then saying it. Because if you're willing to say that lie and believe that lie, you're willing to do everything. And that's these people. Oh, I'm a truther, but I'll sit here. You don't know me, just like I don't know you. I'm not going to say you're controlled opposition. You're probably just an angry boomer who heard something about Trump that you didn't want to hear. I know me. I know my journey to get here. I know that I'm not controlled by anybody. I'm 100% certain because I'm me. You know nothing. You're probably 1% certain because I bothered you with a post, but you're willing to say it. That means you're a liar and you probably follow liars. You probably go on Telegram and follow anybody who says anything that you want to hear. So the problem here is not me, Amy. The problem is you're not accurate and you're not honest. So you could think what you want or say what I want, but you don't know that. And that's why people watch my channel. If I see someone I don't like, I don't say that they're this or that. I'm not going to tell you what I'm just going to say, this is what I know. This is what I think about it. This is why I think it. I explain it. What part of what I said? Because I said that people shouldn't idolize politicians, that people should pay attention because they're really just like middleman. That bothered you? He's my whole life. He's my world. He's my religion. He will save me. It's politics, Amy. These people are politicians. It's okay to not think that they're the Messiah, just pay attention. That's all I'm saying. If Trump wins again, just pay attention. Stop acting like that. That's all I'm asking. I'm not telling you to hate somebody. I've never advocated for that. But I just wanted to have an honest moment with you, Amy, because with certain people, I see them say 100% confidence things about me that they're 100% wrong about. And I know that because they don't even know me. So I'm like, these are the type of people I avoid like the plague. And that's why if you go in certain type of movements, these people are not loyal to each other. Some of the biggest conspiracy movements, I'm not even going to name names, you got people that they're calling me this, they're calling this person this. This is like a law of the land. But if you're willing to do that, you're going to do it to your friends and stuff too. So these movements, they're calling each other controlled up all the time. They hate each other. You got Lynn Wood on his Telegram calling out Sidney Powell, General Flynn, but these people, I love General Flynn. I love Lynn Wood. I love Sidney Powell. They don't even like each other right now. I'm not going to say all of them, but it's like you put your utmost faith into certain things and then you call everyone else controlled opposition. And all these people, they don't even like each other in some cases. I'm not going to speak for them. I'm just saying it's like, You're writing 3 paragraphs to me. Someone said, "Don't diss us, angry boomers." Gary, I have a song coming out about boomers. We love bass boomers. I have a song with my man DC Capital all about bass boomers. So in general, I don't think it's great to be like angry. Passionate is good. I don't think angry is great, but I'm not trying to blame every boomer. It's like if I say something about a millennial, I'm not blaming every millennial. I'm just saying she's probably an angry boomer. Just like there's some loser millennials. If you're a millennial, I'm not calling you a loser, but there are millions of loser millennials that, but I'm just trying to be honest because it's my live stream. I'm like, if you're willing to say something that you don't even know is true in utmost confidence, I'm trying to help you because you're open for anybody. You're easy to fool. It's like, will I run in 2024? I don't even think I'm old enough. I don't think I'm legally even allowed to. All right, I'm gonna read this real quick. Amy, I'll read. I'm not angry. You're typing in all caps. So I'm reading this like you're screaming it because you type in all caps. Maybe you're just doing that to get attention or something. But Amy said, I'm not angry. You just got I didn't get triggered. I just told you the truth. That proves my point. You are so wrong. Don't follow for anything. You need to stop acting like you know everything. Allow people to think for themselves and use discernment, but you act like you know everything. That I don't think I do that at all. I just think I say certain things and it bothers you. In the last 10 minutes, from what I recall, I was trying to explain to people why it's a good idea when someone runs for president or governor, it's a good idea to just pay attention and not like worship them like a religion and just kind of like pay attention and make sure if they do things that don't seem right, you don't just make excuses for it. You call it out and have honest dialogue about it. I believe that's what we were talking about. So I think people that don't want to do that get really bothered by that. Like when I say, there are people who have cultist like mentalities. Not all Trump supporters have cult like mentalities. Most right wingers don't have cult like mentalities. A lot of left wingers don't have cult like mentalities, but also there are people who do. So when I say that, people that have a cult like mentality freak out, but people that don't understand who I'm talking about. They're like, no, there are people that have cult like mentalities. It's not me though. But people who do, they're like, we don't have cults. We're not in a cult. We can think for ourselves. I didn't say to not think for yourselves. When did I ever say not to think for yourself? You freaked out when I said that it's probably a good idea to pay attention a little bit and that I prefer someone like a DeSantis or someone else for multiple reasons. But even if Ted Cruz won, I think everybody would pay attention. I don't think people like Ted Cruz that much. I don't think he's like that desirable of a politician where people are like, oh, it's Ted Cruz, trust the plan. Oh, Ted Cruz is arresting the pedophiles. Nobody thinks Ted Cruz is that dude. So even though I don't even like him that much, if Ted Cruz was president, people would be on his ass. They'd be like, dude, if Ted Cruz did something whack, nobody would be making excuses for it. Nobody would say, wait, trust the plan, martial law is coming with Ted Cruz. Nobody likes Ted Cruz that much. In a way, that's good for the base. So then the base would be active and be like, hey, this is why we don't like what you're doing. And this is why you should correct it. And he would probably have to listen or get booed out of the White House. With Donald Trump, that's what I'm trying to say. Not just you, but I'm just saying it's dangerous when people do not want to question the guy. And if anybody says anything, they freak out and call you controlled opposition. That's very dangerous because he did take $1 million from Pfizer. And this is the part that annoys me. I don't care that he did that, although I do think that it's not a good thing. But you call me controlled opposition. I've taken $0 from any special interest. I take no money from pharma. I have the ethics. I would never sell pharmacy products like that. I wouldn't do it because I have a soul and I don't believe in it. Donald Trump, your idol, took $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration. He said he was going to drain the swamp and fight the lobbyists, and he put one of the biggest pharmacy lobbyists, Alex Azar from Eli Lilly, as the head of Human Health Services. Donald Trump helped usher in this new era of big pharma rule because he got paid by them, and then he gave them power. Who's the one that's doing that? I don't work in government. I don't take money from Pfizer. He did. And I'm not saying he's the worst person in the world, but it's a problem if you freak out at somebody who says that because you don't want to hear it. It's like that happened. That's certifiable actually happened. But like people bought this narrative that he would never take anyone else's money. He did. I don't know what else to tell you. Like I think it's a bad idea to put a pharmacy lobbyist, somebody that works for big pharma to pay off politicians and get them to do what I think that's a really bad idea to put them as the head of Human Health Services. Trump did that. So I don't hate him. I still think he was the best president ever, but it is honestly creepy when people treat you like crap when you say that. And I want to say this real quick too. when people left the left wing, there's millions of people who were always traditionally more liberal or they never liked Republicans, and they came over to the right wing, Amy. And the reason they came over, for multiple reasons, besides the fact that Trump was not that bad, people came over because the left wing got so evil. They were like, if you disagreed with the left wing on even the smallest thing, what did they call you? They said, you're Russian, you're far right, you're a piece of trash, you're so bad. So millions of people got freaked out by the cult-like mentality of the left wing. And they said, this is scary. This is really scary to be someone on the left and say something honest and get treated like shit from people who are left wing. It's very creepy. And I have to say, when I made a video saying I supported Trump, I got a lot of backlash. I got way more backlash, and maybe it's because I have a bigger audience now, from right wingers when I said that Trump is selling the vaccine too much. And I'll tell you what, now that I said it 8 months ago, everybody's saying it now. All of these accounts that talk shit about me, they're repeating what I said 8 months ago now. So I was right 8 months ago. People just didn't want to talk about it. And you're becoming, Amy, exactly what you hate. If people have a disagreement with you, you freak out at them, you call them controlled opposition, you throw false accusations at them. That's exactly what the left wing does. You're 100% wrong about me. You 100% know nothing about me. You 100% have no idea where I'm getting my money from because I don't take it from that. So I can verify that you're 100% wrong. You're just guessing because you just watched me on Facebook and you're so confident in your lies. You're becoming exactly what people hated. And so many people on the right are becoming that. They don't want you to question them at all and the person that they like, or else they treat you like shit. And that's why it's like with Ted Cruz, I don't even like Ted Cruz, but there is no cult of obsessing over Ted Cruz. So if I were to criticize Ted Cruz, like I just said with Trump, nobody would care. And that's kind of refreshing. But if you're like, hey, he's selling the pharmacy product too much. You know what? People tried to publish my name, do this, do that, call me a Democrat, call me controlled op, Mossad, China. I had 20 fake accusations thrown out about me. Why? Because I told the truth that people on the right wing didn't want to hear. So you're becoming exactly what you hated on the left. Intolerant, cult-like psychopaths who refuse to have a nuanced discussion about holding politicians accountable who took millions of dollars from Big Pharma. You guys are psychos. I didn't take millions of dollars from Big Pharma. Trump did. That's confirmed. That's published. You just don't want to hear it, so you take it out on me. This is exactly what people did on the left. It's so evil. It's so wicked. And just because you put an elephant next to your name or put a Q sticker on your car, it doesn't make you a good person. And it doesn't make you a moral person. And it doesn't make you an honest person if you're willing to lie about me and lash out at me because you didn't want to hear something I said. And I don't know that. I'm just saying. And I'm not knocking everybody who follows this or that. I'm just like, someone said you're legit, forget about it. I'm just letting people know because I think this is important. I'm going to read the super chat in a second. Why did people leave the left wing? They got intolerant, they got crazy, and they're incapable of someone disagreeing with them. If you're Bill Maher and you just say something common sense once in a while, they will call you far right. This is happening on the right wing now. If you question Trump, even in the most minuscule way, you have millions of people who are willing to dox you, lie about you, threaten you, call you stuff. People get crazy. Honestly, it's really creepy. And there's a lot of people like me that are used to be like, on the left, people were like, oh, Anomaly, I agree with you. I like Trump. I'm just afraid to say it because I'm going to lose my job. Left wingers are such psychopaths. This is starting to happen on the right wing now. I get messages. People are like, dude, I agree with you on Trump. I just don't want to say it out loud because I'm afraid. Pete, you are literally scaring people to have an intellectual conversation about something. That's how evil these people are getting. Like you're scaring right wingers for talking about something they believe in because they're afraid of getting harassed, doxxed, threatened, or, publicly harassed by people. That's exactly what people hated on the left. You couldn't disagree with them or else they'd ruin your life. This is what people on the right are trying to do. I'm not trying to blame it all on this lady, but this is like, I got more backlash when I said this about Trump. And I'll tell you what, all of these big Trump accounts that I follow on Twitter, they're all saying exactly what I said 8 months ago. They're all saying, I see the biggest Trump fanatics account saying, I'm kind of getting tired of Trump's vaccine sales pitch. I'm tired of it. I said that 5 months ago, and these same accounts were freaking ready to cut my head off. An unapologetic apologist said, how can you acknowledge that Trump is against the people yet still vote for him because he's more likable? He and Biden are following the same plan. I didn't say I would vote for Trump because he was more likable. I said if it came down to Trump and Biden, I think although it's less than people think, I think there's value there. I'm not somebody that gets this or gets this. If those were my only two options, you have to vote for Biden in 2024 or Trump, I would vote for Trump. I think Trump would open the pipelines. That alone is better for the economy. That alone will put a small little smidge on the agenda that they're trying to roll out, which is phase out gas and bring in electric cars to control. So if Trump would do that and people would demand that, even that alone, and I'm not saying nothing else would happen, that alone would be more beneficial to my life than Biden. I don't, I'm not gonna throw a fit and take my sandbar and go home. I don't think that politics is perfect. I don't think the Republican Party is perfect, but I'm not someone who just says, "Oh, I don't see any difference." I do. I analyze things. I think there is a difference. It's not as big as people think. It's not this grandiose scheme, but I do think energy-wise, even that alone, Trump would be more beneficial. Someone said, I appreciate you. Keep doing your thing. Bought your hoodie. Thanks, City Boy. I appreciate you. Clayton Croughton said Trump literally said Israel should control Congress. That's true. I mean, he's on video saying Israel used to control Congress and they don't anymore and they should. And then people like Amy are like, oh, well, he's sold out. I'm like, you could think or say what you want, but it's like people just don't listen to this guy. The reason I know about Klaus Schwab is because I read his book. The reason I know about Trump is because I listen to him talk. I don't make up things and study the guy. I don't grab him by the what. That's not what interests me. I'm sorry, but I just listen to him. People don't listen, but whatever. It is what it is. I just want to let you know, if you're still listening, I'm not angry, I'm passionate, but I just want to say you're becoming what people hate on the left wing. And I want to say this because there were accounts that I followed that even when I love Trump, maybe as much as Amy, right? When I love Trump, people said similar stuff that I said in a different way about different topics against Trump. I followed right-wing accounts that questioned Trump and brought up his donors, like this one account that's banned off YouTube now. His name is No More News, and we don't see eye to eye on everything, and he lets me know about that quite often. But in general, he posted a video talking about Sheldon Adelson, who's a big right-wing donor. I never freaked out at him and said, I don't want to hear that because I like Trump. I looked at it and I said, well, we don't agree on everything, but I didn't know that. And I looked at it and then I added it to my arsenal. Where it didn't make me hate Trump, but I learned something I didn't know about Trump from somebody who didn't like Trump. That's how I learn stuff. I don't think I know everything, but clearly I listen more than Amy does. And I learn from people who don't feel the same way about me. So when I say stuff about Trump here, you have two options. Click the X button. You can ignore what I say. You don't have to agree with it. But I'm not saying anything crazy. Like maybe you want to believe that Trump didn't take $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration. Maybe you want to believe that. But if it's true, you can scream at me and type in all caps and call me controlled opposition, but it's not going to change that. Maybe you just don't want to hear it or something. Or maybe you don't want to hear that it's a good idea to keep an eye on politicians because they're supposed to serve the people. And there's often billionaires, special interest groups, and big money behind them that outpowers us. So, that's all I'm saying is like, I never treated anybody like that. If someone tells me something that I don't want to hear, I don't freak out and scream it and like type in all caps to them. This is similar to how the left was acting. And I'll tell you, I'm not saying it to point out Amy, but like, seriously, there's thousands, if not millions of conservatives who agree with me because I didn't invent what I'm saying. It's not something I create. It's just what happened. And I paid attention and I repeated what everyone was thinking. But there's so many people who want to say stuff, but they're afraid of getting like beaten down like that, on the right wing. And that's not what we're supposed to build. You don't have to agree with me. Honestly, you can say whatever I want, but my message was, you don't know. Like if I were to say something about you, I don't even know you. So I'm not going to speak about you with 100% confidence and certainty. But if you're willing to do that, you could think that and say it, but I know you're 100% wrong. So if you're willing to do that, what else are you willing to do? I could probably say anything and you'd believe it if it went in your favor. So that's all I'm trying to say is, have a little self-awareness or else you're going to end up following liars, isolating yourself from people who challenge you. And that's what it is. I like to have debates and discussions. If you disagree with something I say, explain what you disagree with. But lying about me and, when it's all said and done, my life speaks for itself. My record speaks for itself. I'm not getting paid off by anyone. No one's ever bribed me or made me do something. I have 100% total control, 100% creativity. No one has ever forced me to do anything, and I wouldn't do it. I would never do what Trump's doing. And that's probably why I'd never be in politics. But, it's like, I don't, that's not how I operate. Someone says he's stuck in a loop. Not really, but this is something that happens a lot. So I'm just trying to address it strongly and then we can move on. And she's saying, "Oh, people say that about you." It's like, so I ran into somebody in person who was like, Anomaly, I follow QAnon. And I'm like, she's like, I don't agree with you. I troll you a lot. But she was nice in person, but she had kind of pretty much told me, like, I like Q a lot and I don't really like you. That's the vibe I got when I met her in person. I don't care. There's a reason I'm telling this story. So she goes to me and she says, "Oh, it's not just you. They get mad at me too. I just had my account deleted and they called me controlled op." And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is what I'm trying to tell people. It's bigger than me or you or Q or anything. I'm just trying to say, if you surround yourself by a bunch of people who are willing to lie about other people and exaggerate and come to conclusions that they're not quite sure about and act like they're 100% certain, they're eventually going to turn on you. So that's the irony of a lot of these groups. It's like it's filled with people who the only thing that's connecting them is believing a politician is like a ninja turtle, which is not true. So you're being united in a group of millions of people for a premise that's fake. And you could think it's real, but I'm just saying, if that's the case, no wonder you're always fighting against each other, because you guys are not honest people. If you were honest people, you wouldn't be there, but you are there. So it's like, if you're willing to lie about this person, you call this person controlled op, they're always calling each other controlled op. You're controlled op, you're Mossad. They're always fighting. She's like, it's not just me. I get yelled at all the time. I'm like, duh, because you surround yourself by a bunch of people that are not rational and they're willing to hear something, come to a huge conclusion that they're not sure of, have like little to no evidence for it, and just repeat it. So of course they're going to come after you, of course they're going to call you names, because that's the group you're choosing to surround yourself by. People who are very sloppy and loose with their ideas of why they do it. And when they're wrong, they just say, well, I'm allowed to be wrong because, disinfo is necessary. It's like, yeah, you're surrounding yourself. Of course, there's always going to be infighting. And if you want to be honest, it's even happening now with Lin Wood. If you go to his Telegram, he's calling out General Flynn. He's calling out Sidney Powell. He's calling out the lawyer he worked with. You assume I follow all these people in QAnon and we all love each. That's not true. You're all beefing all the time because, it's like you're all united on this idea that, a politician who took $1 million from Pfizer is literally like the Messiah returned who's going to save the entire world in some sort of movie fashion. So yeah, I don't expect those to be the most loyal people to you. It's like the left wing. You can do everything left wing, but the second you're not left wing enough, they want to come for you. They want to call you a right wing person. The left, you don't want to be around those people because they're not loyal, because their whole ideology is based on a lie or based on, something that they're not even right about. So that's kind of what I see on the right. There's certain groups I don't want to be a part of. It's not because I don't think there's any value or truth there. I do think there's some value and truth in every group, but you guys are like, yeah, you're willing to, oh, he's this, he's that. Eventually you're going to look at them, what you get what I'm saying? Like every right winger is not going to agree on everything. It's not a big deal. If someone says to me, Anomaly, I like Trump, I want to vote for him again, I'm not going to say you're controlled opposition. That's just how that person feels. I don't have to agree with it, but the point I'm getting to is like, eventually you're going to turn on each other, because that's the whole thing. Is it not? You can never be this enough. If you don't believe every single thing I believe, oh, you're allowed to question everything. Just don't question me and question Trump. We question everything, Anomaly. We question everything. Just do not question Trump. If you question Trump, I'm going to call you controlled opposition. It's like you question everything, but you won't even question your entire movement, which told you that, and I'm not saying that's you. I'm just saying, like, I see these trends in certain groups. And when I talk to people in these groups, they'll be like, oh yeah, I don't like you very much. And I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. And they're like, yeah, it's not just you though. I get yelled at all the time. They're coming after me too. It's like, yeah, because you're surrounding yourself by people that are not, loyal or rational all the time. So, and that's not to say everything's fake or everything's real. There's nuance to everything. There's value everywhere. I would vote for people that I don't even agree with over certain other Republicans. I don't hate them. You get what I'm saying? Someone said I'm confused now. I'm sorry if this is confusing, but what I'm trying to say is, like, never mind. Some people got it. Did anybody understand what I was saying or no? Am I just rambling to myself? Did you? Okay, some people got it. Okay, appreciate it. And I'm gonna use this another I'm gonna use another example with that since some people got it. I see that happening. I don't want to say far right because I think that's a smear, but I see that happening on the America First side and a lot of these people who call out Israel all the time. I think it's totally fine to be America First. I think it's totally fine to question and call out Israel. But what I see amongst not all the people who do it, but the fans or the people who follow, a lot of these communities are toxic. So you can never do it enough. Like, for instance, I was talking about Adam Green, and he was like, he focuses on Israel, right? He talks about it all the time. People call him an anti-Semite. I don't think he is, but they call him that. But then his own followers will be like, you're Jewish. It's like these communities are toxic. And I'm not saying the people saying this stuff, but like, if you're America First, Nick Fuentes talks about stuff, but in the comments, people are vicious. They're just saying vicious stuff all the time. I'm not a snowflake. You could say whatever you want to me, but it's like at a certain point, if you surround yourself by people that are always attacking each other all the time, you could never be far right enough. You could never talk about Israel enough. You could never point out everything because certain people in their heads, they're like, if you don't say everything I want you to say all the time, every single time I want you to say it, I'm going to call you a controlled opposition or you're working for the other side. If you don't agree with me on every single, so these are communities that I try to avoid, right? It's like, I agree with these people on some stuff. I agree with these people on some stuff. When it comes to Q, I think it was not an honest movement. I think it was making people feel like martial law was okay, but that doesn't mean everything they've ever said is wrong. There's a lot of people that follow that I think are good people that I just think are a little lost in the sauce. I don't hate them, but I think the communities are toxic. You get what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't mean you're wrong about everything or these, but like, if you surround yourself by people that always want you to go further and it's never enough and they're willing to turn on you in a split second, like I know people that they only focus on Israel. They only talk about Jewish stuff, and they're constantly getting harassed in the comment section that they're not doing enough. It's like, I appreciate people who say certain things, but it's like, those are communities I'm trying to avoid. I don't want people that are going to turn on me on a dime because I say something they disagree with. And if you're willing to do it to someone else, you're willing to do it to others. If they're willing to say it about me, maybe the community you're in, Amy, like in 3 months, they'll say it to you. If you say, I like Trump, but I think he should maybe like lay off the pharmacy sales, maybe they'll call you controlled opposition. And then it'll hit you and be like, oh man, I'm not, I just disagree with you. Well, yeah, that's what people do. Like these are communities I see where I'm like, I don't disagree with everything you're saying, but I don't like what I see in the community because people are going to come after people, like when you don't say exactly what they want you to say. Someone said they came for Alex Jones first. Yeah, for sure. Someone said extremist. Yeah, but I agree. But I think that word in some ways has been like abused by the media. So I try to stay away from that because I don't think everybody saying something is an extremist. But I do absolutely think that like certain communities, they go a little too far. Not always the people speaking, but like the communities where it's like, I don't know. I just see that. And I'm like, if they're willing to go that hard at someone else, like you're never going to be able to please them. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. It's like, I hated that about the left. Like the left, besides all their politics being trash, the left was impossible to talk to. They were impossible to debate with, I don't want the right to become that in any category. And everybody does it. There's people moderate who do it to the further people do it to the more moderate people. Everybody's allowed their opinion, but I think in some cases it gets overblown. Amy said, I have some things you may be interested in. Yes, I'm trying to be heard. Well, God bless you. Thank you for sticking around, Amy. I'm sure you do. Amy, I get 1,000 messages like a week. You have to understand with me, I know you think I'm this, but I'm not. I do all my own stuff, Amy. I answer my own emails. I have one friend semi helping me. It's like my best friend since 5th grade, but I get so many messages, Amy. I can't even read them all. I'm a human being that doesn't even have a team. So just be a little nicer if you could. You don't have to, but like, I'm sure you have a message. So do thousands of people. I've talked to you for 20 minutes. I've tried to, but you're just calling me names. Like if you have a message, say the message and I might read it. But if you accuse me of fake things, how's that getting your voice heard or your message heard? I would love to share something, but also I'm not a whistleblower or a leaker. If you say something intelligent, I'll read it. If you have a question, I'll answer it. But if you just accuse me of things, there's not really much I could do for you. If you guys don't mind real quick, I'm going to get some water. I'm going to hang out for a little bit because I got some energy, but I'm going to play my song Fundemic. It's on Spotify, but I appreciate you for staying, Amy. And I would never want to censor your voice. I just was hoping that, you might be a different Amy. I don't know. You and the other Amy are typing in all caps. So I just assume you're exactly the same because I just see not everybody's typing in all caps, but give me 10 seconds. I need some water and then I'll hang out for a little. Why do both Amy's type in all caps? You guys got to stop typing in all caps. I wanted to get this thing, but it's like a little health thing I got. Sorry, my voice is a little raspy. I apologize if I got the Amy's mixed up. I just want to be heard. Amy, tell me something. You're saying I just want to be heard. I got you, but I'm just saying you and the other Amy are typing in all caps. So I see Amy all caps. This is not a common thing. We don't have Amy's typing in all caps all the time. So just say something and I'll read it. But you keep saying I want to be heard. I don't know what to tell you. Amy's are the new Karens. We love Amy's here. It's just like, y'all got to say what you want to say. Like, I'll say this too. There's not many channels that read as much as I read aloud. If you say something dope or have a question, I'll answer it. Most channels don't do this. I don't know very many people who answer this many questions. So if you want to be heard, you're at the right place, but you got to say something. You can't just keep repeating the same thing and be like, I want to be heard. I want to be heard. What do you want to be heard? I want to be heard. What do you want me to read? I don't know. Someone said you need a team. Okay. You got the lowercase now. I'm establishing a team, but if you want to know, I like to work with people I trust. I'm not trying to make a conglomerate. So I'm slowly branching out. But it's all good. Life is good. I'm chill. I'm appreciative. Things are going at the pace they need to go. God's plan. So the team will build, but I'm not the type to build a huge team with people I don't like. I'm building a small team with people that I've known and trusted. So that's it. Organic apple fruit juice, lemon juice, ginger. Someone said, I want a sandwich. See, he's got the idea. I want to be heard. I want a sandwich. I'm like, all right, I'll make a sandwich. Jeez. Someone said, I just lost my job for not getting the vax. Onward. John, it sucks that happened. I hope you stay strong. And I think, I'm not going to tell people what decision to make, but clearly it's not going to end here. So, you might have saved yourself some troubles. All right, a few more. I stayed longer than I thought, but Star Lily said, life is good. I appreciate you. Someone said, Amy needs to learn to cook. Whoa, zinger, got her. Thank you, Taylor Swift. We have Taylor Swift here. I assume it's the real Taylor Swift. Someone said team with David Nino Rodriguez, bro. He had me on a stream like a year and a half ago. I'm guessing that we probably disagree on a lot of stuff that's going on right now, but I would be willing to have a conversation with him. I talked to him a year and a half ago. We got along great. I don't know exactly what he's been talking about recently, but I don't know. If he asked me to go on his live stream or something, I'm sure I would chat. Amy wants to speak to my manager. I am the manager, so speak to me. Facepalm said, Q people cling to their narrative of trust the plan just as much as the mind control people that believe in the COVID narrative. It's sad. Yeah, I guess my without being a broken record, my advice to these people is just like, be the change you want to see in the world. If you want to see truth, if you want to see honesty, if you want to see people that are accurate, you got to be accurate. You can't be sloppy and expect, the media not to be sloppy. So I think there's a lot of things they're onto and a lot of things they're misled of, but I just find it interesting. Like, they'll tell me, and I don't want to generalize because a lot of people don't do this, but they'll say, we question everything. And I'm like, what about Trump? Yeah, we question everything, but do not question Trump. Do not question our plan. Do not question martial law. It's like, how come you question everything except for your entire thought process, which is, so that's not to blame everybody, but it's like, oh yeah, we're so open-minded, but we will call you controlled opposition in 5 seconds if you disagree with our Trump theory. It's like, well, then you're not really questioning everything. You're questioning left-wing things. But it's like, if it, that's what I've seen. Like, we question everything. I'm like, what do you think about Trump selling the vaccine? They're like, did Mossad tell you to sign this? I'm like, bro, it doesn't even make logical sense. It's like, I've said this before. I feel like a broken record, but Mossad is Israel intelligence. Donald Trump loves Israel. Donald Trump said on a recent radio show that he thinks Israel should control Congress. He said that. And you think you're fighting Israel or something. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, I'm not even trying to be mean, but you're like, dude, we're saving Israel for last. We're going to fight the government of Israel, but we're just going to do it with Donald Trump and Mike Pompeo, the two most pro-Israel people in the Republican Party. Like, oh yeah, Israel's shivering in their boots with your, like, what? You're accusing people who, in my channel, I would say I am not only report on Israel's COVID data, but I talk about the speech laws, etc., more than anybody. But somehow I'm the guy that's working with them because I disagree with the guy who thinks that they should own Congress. Like, it's just kind of goofy. Like, I don't try to. I know people get so sensitive about this stuff, but I can't help but kind of laugh at it. I'm like, if you think everybody's Mossad, why do you love, like, if you're number one, why do you like the guy that loves them so much? If you're worried about that, I don't get it. But Facepalm said, even I fell for it, but it got too crazy and unreasonable. I initially fell for the pandemic narrative. You got to put your pride aside to see the truth. I appreciate you, Facepalm, for admitting that, because this is the part that really bothered me about all that stuff. I don't care if people disagree with me. I don't care if people get something wrong. It's not a big deal. But when, like you said, you fell for the pandemic narrative, when March rolled around, the biggest opposition to my videos was people following Q because they thought that the martial law lockdowns were where the pedophiles were going to get arrested. So it takes a real man like Facepalm to admit that that's what you thought, right? A lot of people thought that. There's no shame in being wrong. It's not a big deal. But this is the part that bothers me about a lot of these people. Not everyone, but a lot. They're like pathological liars. They'll say, lockdowns are good. Martial law is coming. We're arresting these people. The Vatican's going under. And then 3 months later, they'll be like, Fauci's bad and the lockdowns are bad. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Do you remember when you were harassing me in April saying that I'm bad for calling out lockdowns because you wanted the lockdown? And then, no, I never did that. I never said that. I never did that. And then I'm like, you're not a conspiracy theorist or whatever. You're a pathological liar. You deny what you said a month ago. Like, that's the part that really crept me out. So I appreciate you admitting that you thought that back then, because so did most people who followed that movement. That's just the truth, because it told them this was the big moment. You're waiting for something similar. So I appreciate you for being honest and admitting it, because so many people, it's beyond theory or agreeances. It's like just total denial of what they said. And I feel like that's what I like. I'm not going to speak for them, but I see Lynn Wood. If you go to his Telegram, he's talking about Sidney Powell. He's talking about a lot of things. I don't know who's telling the truth because I don't know any of these people, God bless them all. But at a certain point, it's one thing to disagree, but it's another thing to just double down when you're wrong. Be like, Yeah, I'll admit, like, I thought Bernie Sanders was outside the government. I thought he wasn't a Democrat or a Republican. I'm not proud of it. I don't, but I can explain to you why did I think that in 2016? Why was I fooled? I've explained it many times. I'm not in denial that that's what I thought. It's public knowledge. People know this. So it's a difference of being like, yo, I thought Bernie Sanders was the real deal 4 years ago, or some people, I didn't, but some people are like, oh, I voted for Obama. But now I like Trump. That's not a big deal if you're like, yeah, that's what I used to do, but then I do this now, and I can explain why I did it. Someone said Bernie fooled me, and that's okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to realize something. But the crazy part to me, with a lot of people that follow Q and Mike Lindell and stuff, I don't care if you disagree. I don't care if you have a theory that I don't agree with. It doesn't bother me. But what does kind of creep me out is when people pathologically lie. Like, I've seen hundreds of people say, this is when Trump will come back. And then Trump doesn't come back and they just say, I never said that. I didn't say that. And I'm like, what? Like, for somehow it's telling people that that's normal. That's what I'm telling people who follow this stuff. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you disagree with me. But if you're around a bunch of people like that, they're eventually going to stab you in the back too, because it's based off of like pathologically lying. Like, Mike Lindell be like, I didn't say that. I never said that. And I'm like, bro, I have a video of you literally predicting Trump coming back 3 different days. And now you're saying you didn't say it? I like Mike Lindell. I think he's a nice guy. I think his pillows are cool. I think he's got a good heart. I think he's a nice Christian. I like Mike Lindell. But that doesn't change the fact that I've seen him basically pathologically lie and deny he even said that. So there's a difference of like, oh, he's ambitious. I literally thought Bernie Sanders was the real deal for a while. I voted for Jill Stein in 2016. I realized Trump was better than I thought before he got into office. Like, during his inauguration, before that, I started realizing he was actually the real deal, or I thought he was. And then I have videos where I said Trump is not that bad. I like what he's doing. People are being mean to him. It's okay to switch and like learn and evolve and grow with time. What's weird is like pathologically lying. That would be like, I never liked Bernie Sanders. I never voted for him. I never liked Bernie Sanders. I never made a song. Like, I never made a Trump song. Like, there's a difference between, you get what I'm saying? And that's the part that creeps me out the most about that group of people. It's not that they disagree with me or they were wrong or whatever. It's the fact that they pathologically lie about what they just said 2 weeks ago. Like, that's unsustainable. Like, at a certain point, that's going to catch up to you. Someone said it's okay to switch it up. Do you guys know what I'm saying, though? It's not everybody doesn't do that. I'm not saying everybody does it. I'm not trying to generalize, but I know hundreds of people that followed Q or love Trump that would literally just lie completely about what they just said. Like, oh, they'd publish something. Oh, Trump's going to be back in office on January 20th. And then on January 30th, they'd say, oh, yeah, I never said that. That's, what do they call it? Gaslighting? I'm like, what the heck? Like, this is beyond a theory. Like, you guys are lying about something I could prove. That started really creeping me out. And that's what I'm saying is a warning to anybody who follows that. I'm not going to tell you not to read information or learn. It's great to learn. It's great to challenge yourself. It's great to talk to people. But if you're surrounding yourself of a movement that's filled with pathological liars, I don't care if you do, but eventually they're going to turn on you. So when I meet people and they say, oh, they turned on me too. Duh. Because isn't that what they do? Like, it's like, oh no, I didn't say that. It gets kind of crazy. And that's like it's different than politics. Someone said everything is a psyop. Life is what you make of it. But I think information is fine. It's good to learn if people can read information and learn and evolve. But once people start getting like, I don't want to be challenged. I don't want you to disagree. And I will destroy your life if you quit. It's like, whatever. Someone said, there goes my super chat. Let me go back. Okay. I got your super chat, brother. Sorry. Do you really believe voting is a solution? How would anyone vote for the people ever be on the ticket without being banker controlled? I don't think voting is the solution. No, I've never told people the only way out of this is to vote. I don't think that. I think the general populace has to wake up and people have to live by example and people really have to make the most of their situation. So do I think voting's the solution? No, I really don't. Who could win that's not banker controlled? It's possible, but yeah, I would say it's difficult. It seems like clearly off the last 20, 30, 40 years, but when I say that I vote or I would vote for this person, I'm not saying it's the be all end all solution. I'm saying if I were stuck with these two options, this I think would be minorly beneficial to me and the country. It's not the be all end all. And then we still have our work cut out for us. It's not like I'm saying I think voting's the solution. And if I voted for Trump, it's over. That's not what I'm trying to say. So I don't think it's a solution. I think mindset, culture, also individualism. I think your family, like if you look at the 1950s, not everybody was treated terribly. There were some people, some black people, some white people that made a career for themselves and they got treated very well. It's not to agree with what happened to everybody, but at the end of the day, you got to make the most of yourself. So to me, the ultimate solution is you. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Obama, Trump, Biden, you got to make a move. You got to do your best. You have to evolve and learn. And times do get tough, and hopefully it inspires you and helps you, do something special. So to me, the ultimate solution is self-awareness and self-accountability. And that's why the message I was trying to portray, you don't have to listen. I'm only one person. It's not important. But, what I'm trying to tell people is self-accountability and self-awareness. And that's why I'm talking to Amy the one time who said, you're controlled opposition. I'm not. I know myself. You don't know me. And the point wasn't to argue with her the whole time. I'm just saying, if you are willing to say something you don't know then and believe something that you don't know, you're going to do it in other places. That's why it doesn't matter if you like conspiracies. It doesn't matter if you like Trump. It's like, who are you? Do you have self-accountability and self-awareness? If not, you're going to get thrown like a rag doll by the left, by the right, by this person, by that person. So the ultimate solution is not voting. The ultimate solution is not loving Trump. The ultimate solution is not hating Trump. The ultimate solution is not, donating to the RNC. The ultimate solution is you taking control of your life. And if everyone did that, the world would be better, and it starts on an individual basis. And then it starts on a friends and family. And when you get better, you inspire people in your circle. And then, your community could be better. And if there's enough people that do what I'm saying in a community, that community is better than a community where people don't do that. So that's all you really can do. And that's with Trump. It is what it is. I'm grateful in a weird way. I don't regret anything. I don't regret which way I voted ever. It's because it's not that big of a deal to me. But in general, everything happens for a reason. And even this pandemic, it sucks. I don't agree with a lot of stuff going on, but I never rolled over. I never said, oh, it's a pandemic, I lose, game over. I tried to make the most of it, and I did make the most of it, or at least did what I felt was the best I could at the time. And I capitalized on an unfortunate situation. And I hope that other people did what they could for their business, for their career, and anybody that lost their job because of the mandates. I pray that you have like a very positive mindset and try to figure out how to, turn this into a good situation and use it to leverage to another spot. So, voting, not the solution. Self-accountability, self-awareness, doing whatever you want to do, regardless of what happens, that's gotta be it. And I think, not to overstep, but a lot of people in politics, they obsess over Trump, whether it be loving him or hating him, right? The left hates him. Certain people, they hate when I say something because they love him. I think in some cases, it's good, it's good faith and you're just hoping for the best. But in other ways, I personally believe some people hate and obsess over these people too much because they lack self-awareness and self-accountability. So it's easy, if you're a piece of trash person, it's easy to just sit on the couch and hate Donald Trump because it doesn't take any effort. Oh, Donald Trump is the most evil person ever in the world ever, and he made everything bad happen ever. I'm going to watch Rachel Maddow and yell at Trump, and that makes me a good person. No, that doesn't root from being a good person. I think that roots from having like zero ambition to actually do something. So you just sit on the couch and hate on Donald Trump. Vice versa, not to be rude, but a lot of people who obsess over it too much, like you can like them, love them, buy shirts, buy merch, support them. I'm not going to knock people. Like some people really had good intentions, and in many ways it helped. But a lot of people that get really mad at me, I'm not trying to overanalyze it, it's not coming from a place of love, and it's not really coming from a place of power. It's coming from like the same thing the left's doing. I'm just going to sit here and put my entire hate into Donald Trump. And I think that makes me a good person. It's the same as on the right. There's a lot of people that don't want to take accountability. They don't want to be a man, or they don't want to really, hold it down for themselves. They don't want to really take that step in their own life. So they just kind of put their entire thing into him and say, you go off and do it. And, I'm going to support you, and I'm going to hate everybody who doesn't support you. And that's going to make my life better. And that's going to save the country. And it's really not. It's not to say that it's everything's his fault or nothing's his fault. It's not ever really been my message, regardless of what I think about his pharmacy stuff and whatever. Like, you got to do your own thing. So I don't think the people, I'm not going to say everybody, but I don't think everybody who hates what I'm saying is doing it from a place of strength. I think a lot of people want to live vicariously through them because they don't want to take self-awareness and self-accountability in their own life. And it's easier to just kind of throw your weight behind somebody else. In the same way, it's like, I'm not good enough at basketball to be on the NBA, so I just watch them play. But there's nothing wrong with watching sports. I don't think, you like greatness and you like to follow greatness. But, I do think in like people that get to this way or to this way, a lot of times it's like a lazy sort of thing. It's like, I'll just throw it all at that person and, they'll fix it, or they're ruining it. It's like, that's not really what happened. But, Trump didn't ruin America. And Trump didn't save America. We have to be responsible for what we've done, and I think people like Trump made millions of people think he ruined it, and he didn't really at the time. And he made millions of people think he was saving it. And that's what I'm trying to explain to people. Like, if he makes 100 million people think everything's his fault, that's not good. And then if he makes 100 million people think everything he's going to save, that's also not good, because we have to change America. It's a product of what we're all doing. And like, a lot of people don't want to do anything, so they just obsess over politics one way or the other. And I think that's really bad. And that's what I'm saying with Trump. He's almost making it worse now, because everybody's just waiting for something that's not coming. And it's not a bad thing. It's not his fault. It's just like, we have to save the country. We have to step up. We have to create the news. We can't just hate the news. We got to create the news. We got to, make American businesses better. We got to fix the supply chains or start a business. Like, that's the only thing that's going to save our country, is like all of us kind of stepping up. And some people are, and I think everyone plays their part, but that's what I'm talking about when it comes to like that type of stuff. Someone said, all I talk about is him getting old, G. Well, this heavy metal patriot, I don't think I've really mentioned it this entire live stream. So you could say that all I say is that Trump is getting old, but I don't know that I've mentioned that one time this entire stream, his age, maybe once for like 1 second. So if you want to lie to yourself and say I sat here for 2 hours and talked about how old Trump is, you could tell yourself that, but you could also rewind the clip and realize that the amount of time I talked about Trump's age has been under 10 seconds. So, it's like, this is what I'm talking about, dude. It's like, I don't care what you think or whatever, but I've mentioned what I think about his age one time or a couple times, but not today. I don't think I've even really said it. But it's easier to just say that, be like, yeah, that's all he's talking about. It's like, not literally no, but what kind of tacos do I like? I don't know. Carnitas, steak, chicken, anything really. What do I think of Jim Jordan? He's a good speaker. He's definitely a good speaker, but I don't know. I think clearly Jim Jordan is a more impressive politician, but as long as people really pay attention to what they're doing versus what they're saying, everything's fine. I'm not here to hate on Jim Jordan. I'm not here to hate on Donald Trump. I just want people to pay attention. That's really it, and not just like get mad. That's it. With Jim Jordan, he's a good talker, but I don't, I think he's a politician. All right. Yeah, I ended up staying too long. I'm going to cut this under 3 hours, hopefully. Let's see. Someone said we should rise up. rise up and start your morning early and do something for the world. You don't have to do anything crazy. Like, things will change when people just do stuff. If you really want to hear my opinion, and I'm not trying to be mean, but like, America gets what it deserves. Like, if everybody wants to do certain things, like the left becomes insane, the right gets a little complacent, they do this, like, this all happens because of us. We don't need to rise. There is no, like, even the even the six to me was always a dumb event, because like, people were under this idea, although I think Trump would have been a better president, like, oh my god, the word, like, I'm like, dude, Trump was there all of 2020. I'm not blaming him for it, but you're acting like he's going to save the world, and he was overseeing the country while all of this went to shit. I'm not even saying it's all his fault. I'm just saying he wasn't able to do anything. And we were like, he couldn't do anything. I'm like, okay, I agree. I'm not saying he's bad for it. I'm just saying, like, he was here in 2020. So everybody got convinced that if they go to this event and he gets back in office, like, that's really going to help everything. How is that going to help everything if he was here all year? So that's the kind of thing I'm trying to talk about, where it's like, I don't think this is the solution. Like, I don't think anybody needs to rise up, because like, rise up and what? Get emotional and get raided by the FBI? Like, how's that going to solve anything? Like, the real rising up is getting up in the morning and just being what you want to see. We don't have enough people doing that right now. The left has gone insane. And to be honest, the right wing, a lot of people are just kind of going along with it, so this country will change when enough people really get their stuff together, and we're doing it. I don't want to make people feel like it's so bad. The culture shifting, media shifting, social media shifting, things are changing, things are growing, and that's all you could really do. You know what I'm saying? Do your best, do the best you could do, make everybody better, and then we'll get it. We don't need an event. There's no event that's going to save us. Anybody thinking, oh, we got to rise up, we got to do that, that's a setup. It's like, what is Trump going to do at the Capitol? What is Mike Pence going to do? That was always a setup, whether they knew it or not. I'm not saying it was purposeful, but like, what do you think you're going to do in one day? What, like, this is not going to work. It's just going to set us further back. So it's like BLM when they get pissed off and, like, people go and like burn stuff. It's like, it makes you feel good temporarily or something, but like, over time, it's damaging your brand, hurting everyone else, like ruining your community. Like, I don't believe in that. And I'm not saying that just to be soft and like, oh, I'm just saying that. I don't think that's the solution. I think it's like a quick thing that's like, oh, I'm going to do this because I'm angry. But like, America doesn't, like, we're getting what we deserve. And I'm not saying it like I hate America. I love America, but people have been ignoring certain things for decades. As far as the pharmacy industry take over this country, they've been lobbying politicians for over 10, 15, 20 years. Like, number one, before it used to be tobacco industry, for a long time, it's been pharma. And when I say that Trump got money from pharma, he did. And when I say he put a pharmacy lobbyist there, he did. It's not to say it's all his fault, but people don't realize that this is happening until it happens to you. It's a wake-up call. So I don't wish this for my country, but they have been screwing us for decades and decades and decades, and things get worse and worse and worse, right? And everybody, you get George Bush and you get Obama and Clinton and Trump and Biden. But the truth is that machine is still kind of rolling, and it rolled so far that it's impossible to ignore. We need to take this as a lesson. This needs to be not, a blessing in disguise of like, this is horrible, but this is what happens when something gets so big that you can't ignore it. So I feel like this is we don't need to get angry or rise up. We need to realize this is a message, not just from God, but this is a message from, it's like, if you like smash glass on your, floor every day, eventually you're not going to be able to walk anywhere because there's going to be glass everywhere. That's just how the world works. So I don't feel like I'm being cheated as a country or anything. I feel like this is like, there's so much stuff that's been going in the wrong direction, and now it's too big to ignore. So now we have the opportunity to figure out what's going on, learn what's going on, evolve in the right direction. We can't just throw a fit. We can't just get angry. Like, there's a reason this happened. And to be honest, this is maybe why I'm so apparently, I don't know the word, controversial or something. I don't even know if that's the right word, but like, I'm not saying I think Joe Biden's amazing. I think he's the worst president ever, But the reason I keep talking about Trump is because if people think this is just Joe Biden, they're wrong. And if people think it's just Trump, they're wrong. These people are the people, puppets, or the leader, if you like them, who stands there and takes blame for everything that's been happening for 50 years or 60 years. It's like they're the front guy. They deserve some blame, but what's happening is bigger than this. So it's never going to change if people blame it on Trump for 4 years and then right-wingers blame it on Biden for 4 years. Like, it's never going to work. And that's why I talk about Trump. It's not because I hate him. It's not because I hate people who like him. I love people who like him. I'm just like, we're screwed. If people think the only way to fix the country is to get the guy back who had 4 years and ended in a lockdown pharmacy pandemic, like that's how we lose. We have to identify what happened, get Joe Biden out of office eventually for sure, and vote him out in 2024, but figure out what we're doing, or else it's just going to be a ping pong game. That's why I say this stuff, and I make it so transparent. I could just sit here and say snarky stuff and walk away. The reason I explain this is because I want it to be transparent as possible. People who like me, they don't like me because they're brainwashed or this or that. I explain everything so thoroughly. I don't think there's a news host on the planet who explains things so thoroughly. Here's what I think. I really think this. Here's why I think this. Here's the proof and evidence that I came to the conclusion to think this stuff. So that's why I talk about it, because I feel like we're not going to win if people don't realize it's not just Joe Biden's fault. And it's not just Donald Trump's fault. This is decades of things that are happening. And this is the part that really quick, that creeps me out when I say it. When I talk about pharmacy lobbying, I had people trying to out me, not that I'm doing anything, but trying to make me look bad and lie about me and publish stuff about me. Why? Because I talked about lobbyists, pharmacy lobbyists. Like, I wasn't singling out Trump. I just said they're lobbying both parties. For 30 years, 20 years, we've always known they're lobbying both parties. Big Pharma lobbied both parties. Big Tobacco lobbied both parties. This was never a controversial subject, but now, because people love Donald Trump so much, I'm the bad guy for talking about what? What did I say? Did I dive into Donald Trump's personal information and dig up something? I would never do that. I'm not a scumbag and I'm not TMZ. I wish his family blessings. I got, bad-mouthed by thousands of people. Why? Because I talked about how Big Pharma lobbied both parties, including Trump. So if this is the new controversy on the right, this is why I'm getting disgusted with it, because I'm like, clearly we're not going to ever win if your idea of winning is trying to dox or freak out about somebody who just publishes things that have already been published. I didn't find them. There's a website called opensecrets.org that shows that everyone's being lobbied. The Democratic Party is being lobbied the most. The Republican Party is being lobbied the second most. Biden was lobbied the most. Trump was lobbied the second most. Perdue was lobbied. Loeffler was lobbied. Whatever the two Democrats' name were, Warnock was lobbied. The other guy was lobbied. I'm not like blowing the whistle on something crazy. This is public info. And I got swallowed a lot. Not really, because I don't care. But it's like, this is what people have a problem with now. Because Donald Trump came, they don't want to hear about pharmacy lobbying both parties. That's bad. And I don't care. You can lie to yourself. You can call me this. You can call me that. You're not I'm not going to take a shot at your personal life or anything, but like, you're not a truth teller if it bothers you to see a pharmacy lobbying. And I hold myself to the same standards. If I got lobbied, if Pfizer paid me $1 million, you should call me out. If you see me up here selling vaccines and you see that I got $1 million from Pfizer, I don't care. You shouldn't like me. You should be like, no, you're a sellout. But that's a problem. I'm not even a politician. Like, you're slobbering over politicians and freaking out about people who tell you about pharmacy buying them off. Like, that bothers you now? That's a big no-no in the Trump movement. It's a fake movement then, and I don't want it to be a fake movement. So, unfortunately, I'm one of the few people saying it, because a lot of people know it's bad for the brand. If you run a big conservative page, it's bad for the brand. Yeah, you don't want to tell the truth about that. Just give them "Let's Go Brandon" memes and like generic Biden stuff. That's why it seems so rare and shocking, because no one wants to say it. Not because it's not true, because it just doesn't fit well with the brand of, Biden did it and there's never anything bad. So that's why I explain this stuff. I don't need to. People are like, you don't have to explain yourself. Well, clear. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be here. I don't have to live stream, but I don't do it to justify or myself as a human or whatever. I'm just trying to explain it to people and make it easy to understand where I'm coming from. Appreciate y'all. And I know I stay a long time. Some people stay the whole time. I appreciate you. But to be honest, one of the reasons I stay long on a live stream is not everybody stays the whole time. People pop in and out and stuff. So I know sometimes people come like with an hour left, and that's kind of why I stay. Someone said you've explained nothing, fella. Zangari, God bless you. I think you're like left wing or something, and you hate everything I'm saying. But I have to say, Zangari, I appreciate you for staying for like 3 hours. If you don't like me so much, that's pretty amazing. God bless you. If you want, brother, I know you don't like God or something, but if you want, the God is great. I know you say you don't like what I'm saying, you disagree with me, but it's shocking you're still here. The God is great sweatshirts and the hat, etc. It's on dreamrare.com, brother. There's 20% off, not just for you, but everybody. It's 3 days only, 3 days only, all one word. And you can copy yourself a hat and you could write black magic on it or something. If you think I'm selling black magic stuff, I'm not, because that's not what I do. But you accuse me of that. I don't care. I'm just saying I appreciate you for staying and listening, because I don't last that long on people I don't like. So I must be doing something right. Appreciate y'all. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. And we'll get it cracking this weekend. More stuff, more videos, more content. Apparently not TikTok, because I'm not allowed to. God bless you, Heather. Have a good one.